You made it. Welcome back, you BEA beautiful souls. We have today a big tier list that I'm going to go over for this season, year 10, season 1, and there have been quite a lot of changes, and honestly, it has kind of shifted the meta to an extent, buffed weaker characters, and somewhat brought other characters in line, but not too much so. I want to put a disclaimer that there's a lot of characters, pretty much most of the cast here, that will be playable even at high levels when you are playing in your matchmaking games. This tier list is going to be for you solo queue enjoyers out there, you employed gamers, and even you unemployed gamers who are solo queuing or duo queuing. This doesn't really apply to 4 stacks. The thing is that if there are a 4 stack of players playing characters, whether it be Warden, Conq, Peekeeper, Lawbringer, they're going to have an advantage against any solo queue gamers in general, and you're most likely going to win all your games. When you are stacked with your boys that have good communications, you may be doing a few ganks here and there. This tier list doesn't really include optimal ganks, but being able to know some ganks and punish people who are whiffing or punish people who are block stun, those things, these characters will just excel more than others. Characters that have a lot of tools, very strong tools like hyper armor, dodge, cancel, recoveries, full blocks with iframes, hyper armor, these characters are going to excel tremendously and be very high up in the A+ or solo carry list here. Whereas characters that don't have that many tools to deal with every single option and have safe utility or good mobility, they're going to be kind of the meh. They might be strong, but they'll have clear defining weaknesses where you can't put them in every single situation and when you're anti-ganks. You can see here, Lubudamize, this is going to be right here for Lubu. I'll explain, but I'm sure most of you guys already know how strong he is. He has the DLC plot armor, essentially. S for solo carry, these characters are going to be incredibly powerful. You'll see them all the time in your games. They'll have dodge, cancel, recoveries, they'll have hyper armor, they'll have wide hitboxes for their attacks. Their unblockable heavies will go from Europe to freaking Africa to Antarctica, all of that. So that's pretty self-explanatory. A+ is going to be really strong characters that kind of, can go in between battle in team fights, dueling, and anti-ganking situations where you can stall and have tremendously powerful feats. Moving on to the A, these characters are going to be powerful, but they're going to have clear defining weaknesses. You can't bring them into every single situation and, expect to win all your engagements. It's just impossible. And then we have the B tier. They're the meh tier. They're not terribly weak because a lot of these characters, like I said before, are going to be viable if you can play well, if you have decent reads, decent reactions, and you know your matchups, and you have okay fundamentals. And I think that's kind of important to stress, is that if you have fundamentals, if you know every single character moveset, and it can be quite difficult because there's so many characters. We have about 36 or 35 characters right now, and to learn all of them is going to be quite a chore. So going into training mode and jumping in and learning every single moveset can be quite strenuous, but it is worth it in the end because once you know the matchup, you can do really well against them with every single character. And so that's going to be the intro for my tier list. We're going to try to get this done in under 2 hours, hopefully. You know me, I love yapping. I've got 6,000 hours in For Honor, and I'm gonna continue to yap about it because this is an amazing game, and I hope this tier list helps you guys out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the tier list placements, what you guys found different, what you guys think that I missed, and if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. Let me know your reasonings in the comment section down below. So first off, we're gonna have is Juren. Now, Lubu is in the Lubudamized tier, so this is basically saying that I think he is the strongest character we have when it comes to solo queue gaming in Dominion right now. Not only is his dueling capabilities really strong, he excels tremendously in team fights because of his many reasons. Hyper armor on infinite chain heavies. He also has infinite chain 5RMS light attacks. He has an amazing hitbox for his unblockable finisher heavies, and he has probably one of the best, might I say the best roll catcher in the entire game, topping Jang Jun, maybe even topping, I would even say he has a better roll catcher than Berserker. And Berserker travels through time and space, but Lubu's is very consistent and it's fast and travels a great distance with amazing range. So Lubu has so much defensive and offensive capabilities. Undodgeable finisher light, a chain bash that also wall splats into a 24 damage heavy attack. He also has insane recoveries. He is frame advantage on every single move. His full block guards everywhere. It's after a light input when you are supposed to be frame disadvantage, so your opponent can actually take his turn. You go into your full block and you can go back into your offense and have frame advantage. So that is what makes Lubu incredibly busted running. He has gotten quite a few nerfs, but none of the nerfs that the player base is complaining and really the players are, concerned about, because we want to like this character. We want him to be strong, but we also don't want him to be brain dead easy. And I'm going to talk about his dodge attacks too. So his dodge attacks, he also has dodge heavy, but he also has a dodge hold heavy that like Warmongers, where it has immense amount of iframes, and you can feint and start the attack much earlier than Warmongers. So not only is it stronger in gank situations, also pretty good in 1v1 situations too. And so you have to make a read on reacting or trying to predict. It's mostly prediction because the animations look so similar, where you have to do, if you go into your chain offense, it's light and unblockable. You're gonna have to feint and predict if it's gonna be a dodge attack or unblockable heavy, and he can feint it. So it's quite a tricky character to fight against. He has amazing offense and defense. His stalling capabilities are insane. His defensive anti-ganking capabilities are ridiculous, and of course his ganking capabilities are out of this world. A running attack that's unblockable. I swear I don't parry this move 9 times out of 10. It comes out of nowhere, and it's one of the only moves that has a unblockable indicator, unblockable property on the running attack. It's quite ridiculous if you ask me. Probably needs to get changed. He has a lot of things that needs to get changed, even though he got a lot of small minor tweaks, nerfs, such as not being able to have that much distance when you whiff light or whiff heavy to go into your chain mix-up. That is negligible. What people are complaining about is going to be his full block frame advantage and his dodge attack. Once those two specific things get nerfed, he will be a lot more fair and fun to fight against. He is still going to be a very strong character, but it's just not going to be his turn every single time he attacks and initiates with his very strong parry punishes and defensive capabilities. And Lubu, you guys have all seen Lubu's feats. He is absolute monster. You guys know everything about the character. I don't want to go too in depth on Lubu, but essentially he's got every single tool in the game. He can also, his full block, he also has a whole dodge attack that can negate a lot of blue and orange mix-ups, so he's safe in that regard too. So a lot of players just pick him up as a DLC character and they absolutely stomp. I get destroyed by Rep 1 Lubus all the freaking time. So let's go over his feats here. You want to be running Fast Recovery or Bounty Hunter. These things are, these two feats are going to be your go-to. Expendables is okay, getting a little bit of HP back from your teammates. No Friend of Mine is also solid too. You get so much shields. Thoroughly Comeback is your go-to though if you want to do some insane stalling and anti-ganking. Last Man Standing, you have to run this. This is going to be your best bet. And then God Among Men or Aerostorm are two of the better tier 4 feats in my opinion. Regenerate's okay. You don't really want to run it too much, but that is what I would say about Lubu. Absolutely top tier character, and if you want to pick, one of the coolest Romance of the Three Kingdoms character, then pick Lubu. I love the character, but I also don't like using him because he's so easy to play. There's no challenge at all. Tiandi, however, is in a different situation, and I would say he is quite formidable, even in the hands of someone who doesn't know every single matchup, because what he has a powerful kit. It works well. The chain form as light attacks, this is pretty much free damage for, I would say, 90% of the player base. The form as light attacks, any character with form as light attacks, chain form as light attacks will guarantee damage unless you're fighting a react hard, which you will not be fighting, I would say, most of the time. In duels, I think it's a lot more manageable because you get to focus on that, but in 4v4, it can be quite daunting, so you have to kind of pay attention. But in team fights, he's not as strong when it comes to the damage regarding his chain lights, because they're actually doing like 9 damage. It's not that much, but they do add up. What's strong about his kit is that he has a very powerful chain kick mix-up that is feintable and pins and will send you flying. So it has really good ledge potential, and it also has a lot of troll factors as well. But neutral and dodgeable lights, great for conning Virginosa and people who just dodge from neutral. Powerful palm strike, which he has a forward dodge bash that has really good dodge cancel recoveries, and so having this dodge cancel recovery on pretty much every single move that he has allows him to be so nimble and hard to touch. And those undodgeable lights do have crush and counter properties, and there's plenty of times where you can just forward dodge bash and someone dodge attacks, and you can easily land a crush and counter if you've got the reactions for it. It's quite powerful in my opinion, and I think this character is an absolute monster when it comes to 4v4 and in duels. His zone attack is a huge hitbox, his heavies deal a lot of damage, and his forward heavy also has hyper armor too. I would say the one weakness is that his roll catcher, which it is an undodgeable light, but technically I don't think he really necessarily needs it because it is so hard to evade him, and he has insane iframes on his dragon dodge, which is the iframe that is his dodge attack, heavy dodge attack that is feightable and deals a lot of damage too. So this is something that you have to watch out for, and it's very hard to catch a Tiandi. His main role is to stall and gank and duel, so he can pretty much do everything in this game. Now Tiandi, however, well, I'm gonna go over his feats here. There's not much to say about Tiandi. He's just a really strong character with no glaring weaknesses. So I tend to run Tireless, and come at me if you want to stay in the mid lane, but it's not that important. I also run a weird funny build with Sacrifice. Do not run this build. This is a troll build, but it's fun to like heal your teammates and make Shamans or Nobushi or Peacekeepers kind of rendered useless. What you want to do is you use this when your teammates are on point, and then you stay on point because it takes 49 health from you, but it allows your teammates to regenerate, 30 HP over 24 seconds, which means the bleed from all those characters, it's going to be pretty much null. Mark for Death is okay, but Doom Banner is going to be your meta pick. Vital Leech is insane, and also run Battle Cry too. This is a really good feat, a buff to all your teammates. Insane, Indomitable, or Last Laugh. Last Laugh did get nerfed, but not nerfed too much. I feel like it still does what it needs to do. And so Tiandi, absolutely S tier solo queue carry character. And now we have Guan Yu, or as For Honor likes to call it, it's going to be Jang Jun. Jang Jun, absolutely god tier character. Jang Jun is basically the alpha version of Lu Bu. So Jang Jun, still probably one of the best characters. I would say like top 5 best characters in For Honor right now, and the reason why is because he is a more simplified version of Lu Bu. So light into unblockable, the finisher heavy has the best range in the entire game. This is god tier in my opinion. Literally no other unblockable heavy comes close to Jang Jun next to Lu Bu. Lu Bu doesn't count because he's on a tier of his own. He's got the DLC plot armor, but Jang Jun would be running amok in your Dominion games. This character also got buffed recently too, so his zone costs way less stamina, like insane amount of stamina. You can just use this after a parry riposte. So when you parry someone, you can go into a zone now, and it becomes a true 50-50. Because unblockable is gonna catch you from dodging. So absolutely god tier character. You can use this so much more now. He's just got so much tools and utility with his Sifu stance as well. So that gives you iframes that also regenerate stamina, and stamina is something that you need to have all the time. So he can just kind of go out of stamina whenever he wants and use it as a dodge tool with iframes, and that goes into his unblockable zone attack. Very strong in ganks, and it's hard to punish him in team fights unless you have a character that is undodgeable like Tiandi, or a character that can trade with him consistently with their heavy attacks. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of trades, and you're going to get hit by a lot of other attacks from Jang Jun or his teammates. And so the unblockable heavy and his new zone that has no stamina consumption whatsoever is insane. His lights are also his chain lights are also very delayable, and so when you kind of mix this up with the unblockable heavies and delay your lights to a tremendous degree, they are very hard to parry. Even though they're only 500 ms, people who aren't paying attention and they're not 2 inches from their screen and playing with one hand, Jang Jun's delayed light attacks are gonna hit so much. So I implore you, if you want to pick a very strong character, Jang Jun is going to be a go-to, and delaying those light attacks, practice delaying it to the last freaking second, is going to help you tremendously. And so Jang Jun, absolutely god tier character. He also basically follows the same rules of Tiandi, where you can just dodge attack and you can feint your attacks, and you have tons of iframes. So he's able to be mobile, which is one of the strongest things about this game. So if you're mobile, you're going to be insane. If you have iframes, you're going to be ridiculous and top tier characters. So I guarantee you, all these characters up here, the S tier and Lubudamize, these characters are going to have insane iframes. I promise you. So, go for his feats. Against all odds is going to be your meta pick, but if you don't trust your teammates to get, you know, more damage, then I would just run Deadly. Because I run both. And I do prefer Deadly because it does help you every 3 seconds to get more damage. And within team fights, you're able to land so many unblockable heavies, it's not even funny. You don't even need to think too much with Jun. A lot of these characters on S tier are going to be fairly brain dead to get a lot of value out of. And that's the most important thing about this tier list, is that the more you have to try, the weaker the character is going to be. The less you have to try, the higher solo queue carry potential you really have, because a lot of these characters are very simple. At the end of the day, you can just do a few things and it'll get value. It's only when you fight the highest levels of player where you actually have to think. These characters, that solo characters, are going to be very strong against them. So tier 2, we're going to run Inspire. That is going to give you more damage. Tier 3 is going to be Soothing Mist or Second Wind, and you can do a bulk build as well, Tough as Nails, which is really fun to do. And then we have, I mean, all these are insane. Phalanx is good, Fire Flash is insane, Fury Barrage is going to be not your best one. I would say I would run Phalanx first, Fire Flash, and then Fury Barrage. And so that's Jun. Incredible stalling, dueling capabilities. Oh, his forward dodge kick, absolutely god tier, great for confirming attacks, and very powerful because it basically pins. The next best girl we have is going to be Nuxia. Now, Nuxia, she's got some interesting buffs. I am quite happy about it. I know some of you Nuxia mains out there, the 5 of you out there, are not completely happy, but you got to take what you can get, you know? And so my girl here, my girl is, I honestly, the thing is that a character that people do not play often is going to be strong when a person with good fundamentals and reactions and reads can utilize her to the fullest extent. But that requires you to use your brain a little bit more. If you fight a Nuxia who's just throwing lights all the time, and she's not really using her brain, she's going for traps every single second, you're just raw heavying her right up on the face, and she's just taking it consensually, you know, she's not going to be good. She would probably be like meh tier still. But the thing is, traps work the opposite way of an unblockable. So you're supposed to not keep your guard there, and you're supposed to emote, you're supposed to dodge attack, so it's a light attack and all that good stuff, unless you have crushing counters. But Nuxia, she kind of counteracts all of that, and when you kind of understand her mix-up, she's a fairly defensive character and a methodical character. If you're not thinking about what your enemy is doing, then you are going to lose with her. For Lubu, Jun, Tiandi, you don't really need to think about what your opponent is doing or what they're going to do. Your reads don't need to be on point, but for Nuxia, they do. But the thing is that her finisher heavies are now undodgeable, and in conjunction with the new zone that they gave her the last patch, I think it was like maybe a year ago, where they made it so that her zone attack wasn't 1000 MS anymore. It's a 500 MS movement. You can use it within your chain mix-up. So it acts as a safe, reliable opener to go into your finisher zone that is also can utilize traps. And that means that Nuxia has a huge hitbox zone good for team fights and great for initiating offense, instead of just throwing out a heavy and getting guard broken every single time and being susceptible to just getting your lights parried. So the zone attack is a safe way to initiate offense and to move into your trap mix-up or your heavy into guard break mix-ups. And so a lot of people, one, they don't know the matchup with Nuxia. She has chain 4 MS light attacks, which already is incredibly powerful already. Like I said before, the S tier characters are going to have 4 MS light attacks. She's not quite there yet because the problem with her is that she's a little bit tricky to use. You know, she's a little bit tricky to use. She's not the best in team fights. Her zone is great, though. I will say I have been doing so much better now that I've been kind of spamming her zones in team fights and trying to punish people on whips and whatnot. But Nuxia's chain 4 MS light attacks are strong. Her zone has a great hitbox. Her traps do a lot of damage. But the gist of it is that a lot of people tend to dodge her heavy attacks, and that means that her finisher heavy, now that it's undodgeable, it's going to catch people. For react hard, it's not going to matter too much, but for, I would say, 99% of the player base, this undodgeable heavy nets you so much value. This is God's work at hand. I'm telling you, I'd be playing Nuxia with one hand these days because it is so satisfying to land those finisher heavies. And the reason why I'm going to place her on the A tiers. Now, the A tiers, like I said before, they're strong, but they have clear defined weaknesses. Nuxia has okay like okay offense and okay defense. But what makes her excel is her, especially in Dominion, is her tier 1 feat. So her tier 1 feat is going to be Deadly Duet. This is what makes and breaks Nuxia. 20% more damage in 1v1s. I tell you, if you guys watch my Nuxia videos, I am deleting Lawbringer's health bars. I am deleting anybody I fight that I manage to catch with my heavy attacks or my deflex. This character is an insane duelist, always has been, but if you have the reads, if you have the tier 1 feat, the reactions, the fundamentals, and the matchup knowledge, she is incredibly powerful. She has weaknesses like weak team fights, and you know her hitboxes are pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie to you. Her heavy attacks have good hitboxes. She has an undodgeable now to catch players. I would say sometimes the finisher on dodgeables is not that reliable in team fights, but it does help tremendously. I would still say she's incredibly strong though. But the thing is that a lot of people don't know how to use her, and she requires a lot of effort on your opponent. So you have to mind game them and you have to read them. So she's gonna be weaker. I'm close to putting her in A+ tier, but I've played her enough and I played against other Nuxias enough. That's why it took so long to make a tier list, because I wanted to understand the meta. But I still think she's like an A tier character. She's not terrible anymore because of that finisher heavy. It is catching a lot of players and it's making people parry and try to deflect her now. So she has offense. Call traps, insanely good for 1v1s and the mid lane. If you pop it, this is what I do. If you pop this call traps in a 1v1 situation, 99% of the time, players will dodge, and that's a free guard break, baby. Free guard break, and her initial heavy, so that her tier 1 does 24. But since you're already on your tier 2, that means you have Deadly Duet, and her normal heavy is going to deal 27 damage. That's reserved only for light parries and characters that have a very slow heavy. So she gets that from neutral now. So that's incredibly powerful, and you can't underestimate the character. And then, of course, her chain lights are from 9, go from 10 to 11, I think. That's huge, honestly huge. Slip through, insane, more damage on your dodge attacks, and of course they also buffed infection. So overall, Nuxia not so weak anymore, and you can't underestimate her. I think she's going to be a strong character. A lot of people are going to start picking her up. I've definitely seen people start using her and utilizing her undodgeables and traps more, which is quite scary. So prepare to see more of her in the future. Next up, we have our bald monkey man, Shaowin. I call him Shaowin because he is a free dub, in my opinion. This is the character that is fairly simple, but can also be quite tricky to play and play against. He has a high skill curve, but he also has a pretty low skill floor as well. So you can easily do well with him, because I'm just going to state a few things. Cheese stance is ridiculously good. His kick is 5 RMS, insanely strong. Forward dodge kick is also really good too. He has triple lights that allow him to gank very easily and allow his teammates to land free heavies. Very strong ganks in general. I'm not going to go over a bunch of ganks for every single character. We have the basic light confirm or GB confirms and whatnot. We have forward dodge, bash confirms into heavy, into guard breaks. But for Shaolin, there's some ganks that are really powerful where the teammate will simply, if you see any, like, your teammate doesn't have to be comp or anything, you know, he just has to guard break, and you can land triple light attacks to guarantee a heavy attack and guarantee damage in general. And the lights don't feed that much revenge. So you get triple heavies, triple lights, and you can delay them so your teammates sees that, oh wow, he's stunned, I'm on a freaking heavy now. So that's why Shaolin's also really strong. Easy gank setups. Forward dodge heavies, insanely good for roll catching. One of the best ones out there. And then we have the undodgeable cheese stance mix. He also has crushing counters within his cheese stance as well, so his light attacks fire mess. He always target swaps these. So if you're paying attention to Shaolin, you can parry these, but if there's multiple enemies, I would not recommend parrying them because you don't know where the flip he is aiming at. And so Shaolin, easy character to play. Whenever I play this character, my brain is I would say it's 99% turned off, and I am winning pretty much most of my games with him. And when I start sweating, you know, then it's freaking over for the enemy team. His zone is incredible because it has a huge hitbox, and the animation is not telling at all. Like, at all. There's really not much to say about Shaolin. He's just a simple character, yet what he does works and is incredibly powerful. So let's go over his feats here. Key trap is going to be decent for certain maps. It's not going to be your go-to. Stealth is probably better so you can get smacked by kunais and longbows from a distance. And then we are going to be using Blink. Blink did get nerfed recently where you are able to consistently dodge it due to the animation now. So I love that. Blink is going to be not OP anymore. It was pretty much impossible to dodge, but they nerfed it recently, which is fantastic. Invigorate's going to be your go-to. You're going to heal everyone and your teammates. They're going to love... I love having a Shaowin on my team, man. He's so freaking busted. And then we're going to have Blessed Projection, because this means that you can teleport your teammates right away. It's actually insane. I mean, Shaowin, he has an insane... his forward light, his light attack, his top one is enhanced. So if you don't parry him, you're going to his cheese dance mix-up. So if you hate Warmonger when she had enhanced lights, you're going to hate Shaolin because he also has enhanced lights and goes into a very strong mix-up. Yeah, that's pretty much Shaolin. Strong anti-gank, strong, insane duelist and team fighter, and a really powerful ganker because of his sweep that is feightable and will pin and is incredibly annoying to deal with. Now up next we have our Zhanhu, or our Spam Hu, as some people might call it, Zone Spam Hu. And the Wulin, honestly, the Wulin are just freaking top tier solo carry heroes. They can duel, they can freaking team fight, they can gank, they can do everything. S tier character. I've changed my mind over the course of years on Zhanhu. I used to think he was like A+ powerful. You know, he's a overall a standard character in the Wulin roster that can do pretty much everything, but not as good as the other characters. But I've started to realize that since players are getting better in general, I think defense is becoming a little bit weaker to an extent. Offense is getting really strong, to be honest with you. The ganks are getting kind of changed here and there, but Zhanhu, I think he's just a very slippery character, and if you're not locked in, he is going to shred you. Apparently, so his unblockable heavies are reactable, and especially his finisher 600ms unblockable light attacks, those are completely reactable. But once he starts delaying, once he starts messing up your timing, I think Zhanhu can be an absolute freaking monster. Undodgeable 600ms zone attack, which is insane for peeling and teamfight initiation and catching people who dodge in team fights. I think he's an absolute menace. He has great unblockable heavy hitboxes, not as good as Jing Jun, but I would say a little bit probably top 5 unblockable heavy finishers in my opinion when it comes to the hitbox size. And so Zhanhu, insane with the forward dodge bash, which also is similar to Tiandi, where you can dodge cancel out of it even on whiff. So it's not as strong as Tiandi's or not as fast as Tiandi's, but he still has it. So he's able to play methodically and defensively when he does whiff those moves, or if he lands it, because if there's someone that's going to throw a freaking heavy or a light attack, he can easily deflect those. And yeah, let's not forget about his superior block deflects. These make his light attacks or his dodge attacks become unblockable, and he goes into his chain mix-up. Granted, it's not frame advantage, but it's still really strong and gets you a lot of freaking damage. And so that's why Zhanhu is going to be your solo carry character, because he's great at dueling for 99% of the player base. He has light into unblockable. Any character light unblockable is going to be very powerful because it forces a reaction. Do you want to get hit by the heavy? Then you have to parry and you have to make a read on the animation. And so that's why Zhanhu is just so freaking strong. Forward dodge light is also enhanced to go into his chain mix-up. He has dodge cancel recoveries after every single move. I mean, iframes plus dodge attacks that are also 4MS lights, mind you. He's one of the only characters that have a dodge attack that's 4MS lights and comes from both sides. And so keep that in mind. When you're 1v1ing him, you have to make a read on the dodge attack if you do not guard break him very early, or if you're frame disadvantage, or frame neutral, that is. And so Zhanhu, still a powerful character. I mean, I don't really have much to say about him besides him being so nimble and hard to track in team fights, and a very hard hitter as well. And so let's go over his feats. It's going to be 2 different builds. You can either run Fury Tusk for ranged. Bounty Hunter is going to be your go-to. Fast Recovery is just fine as well. Quinlan Rose in conjunction with Fury Tusk. This does a lot of freaking damage, but I tend to run Winner's Advantage and Bounty Hunter, because Bounty Hunter is really important for fights. They did nerf Bounty Hunter. It used to give you 20 HP, now it gives you 16, but it's kind of negligible. You kind of just want to run this anyways for the most part. Winner's Advantage gives you more damage on your moves after a certain amount of time. And then Hitokiwi, your longbow. Longbow got nerfed to 40 damage, but it's still in a projectile, and it's still going to hit people and give them free back shots. Consensually, sorry. And then we have Last Lap or Scorching Deluge. you can pick both. It doesn't really matter. Switch and lose if you're on a open map. Last laugh if you're not. And that's pretty much Zhanhu. Strong character, good duelist, great team fighter, and strong ganker as well. Next up is gonna be the Samurai faction. So Samurai faction, we're gonna go ahead and just start off with our boy Kensei. Kensei, he got some pretty hefty big dog buffs, if I say so myself. Like, absolutely insane. He's gonna go right up there in the A+ tiers. Honestly, I kind of want to put him up in the solo carry tier, because him having that forward dodge light be enhanced is so good. It's honestly so freaking good. He feels like a strong Gryphon, but the samurai version, obviously, and an insane team fighter, man. Like, this character has amazing peel, amazing range, hyper armor for trades on his finisher heavies, great OS pressure now with his unblockable heavies and his forward dodge light being enhanced. And of course, now when you deflect something, your superior block, dodge into a move, now your attacks become unblockable. So he's basically Zhanhu on freaking, crack. Well, both of them are actually really strong. I think he is powerful. Do I think he's a solo carry character? I think at times he can feel like it, but at this moment in time, I feel that he is still manageable to deal with compared to these characters. I'd rather fight a Kensei 9 times out of 10 than fight these characters. His opener is still a heavy into his bash mix-up, which is slow, but he can still go into a forward dodge light. But then again, he can get parried. So if you're focused and you make a good read on it, you'll punish him accordingly. His opener is still slow compared to the rest of these guys. These guys are forward dodge bash much faster than a heavy into soft feint bash, which doesn't have a lot of utility compared to these guys, because they can dodge cancel after every single bash and stuff. And Shaowin, he can do a forward dodge kick into his zone if he whiffs. So if you expect him to like throw a top light or a side light or something like that, and then you parry his zone instead, when you realize that, oh shit, he fucked up, then he's a lot safer by throwing that mix up. So anyways, going back to Kensei, a lot slower of a character, has to play methodically. He's still the slowest character in the game. His hitboxes are decent and solid, great for team fighting. His dodge attack is really good too, but since he got that insane buff with the deflex and the forward light being enhanced, he's not an A tier anymore. He used to be down here. I'm putting him all the way up there. He's incredibly powerful, and in the right hands, god tier character. Not as strong and easy to use up here in my opinion, because all of his moves are 5 MS and mostly reactable, except for his unblockable, getting great damage on that for wall splats. But in general, I'd say very strong, incredible buffs for Kensei. Long time coming for him, because he has been such a mid pick, but a great character to start for new players. And let's go over his feats here real quick. Body count, because you're going to be in mid lane a lot. I recommend you to fight there a lot. Just don't get contested by 2 enemies when your teammate is all 3 of your teammates are fighting 1 person on a point. So keep that in mind. Body count, insane or fast recovery. Chilling Stare is okay. I tend to run Inspire. I've been seeing a lot of people run Smoke Bomb, but I don't think this is a good feat to run. You're kind of just trolling and being silly. Longbow is going to be your go-to in my opinion. It's still 40 damage, really strong, but I also run Second Wind on my other builds too. And then for your tier 4, I personally recommend Unblockable or Stalwart Banner. Both of these are insane. And then your tier 3. Your tier 3 pick for your tier 4 is going to be Aerostorm. Not too shabby, great for clearing minion lane or getting some big damage, but I prefer using Unblockable and Stalwart Banner. These are just more consistent for me personally, but you guys let me know how you guys have been using Aerostorm, because I forgot, I cannot use this feat. You have to place it in a way where you can get the entire rectangle, because it's a very wide AoE attack. So Kensei, absolutely strong character now, and you definitely can't underestimate anymore, because he has really good dueling potential, great team fighting, peeling, and honestly his anti-ganking is not too shabby either, because his iframes on his dodge attack is really good, and the animation is quite hard to differentiate between someone that's when he's looking directly at you or if there's someone behind you. So he's got a lot of crazy moves. The next Gucci Flops boy is going to be our boy Aramusha. Aramusha's a solo carry. They buffed him again, and he's freaking noob stomping, man. He's freaking noob stomping. So what they did to him is that they have allowed Aramusha to essentially have a deadly feint, undodgeable deadly feint, which is going to be his top one. So once you do a light into unblockable heavy finisher, the top deadly feint is always going to be undodgeable. So now this is going to cover people who like to dodge his deadly feints, and you should be dodging his unblockables and his side deadly feints. But now Armors are gonna do the heavy finisher from the side, and now you have to watch out for that top light. And so you're either gonna eat a guard break, unblockable heavy, or a deadly feint. So this makes it so that he covers all tracks that you do. So it makes his offense very powerful. And not only that, not only does he have really good chain pressure, he also has Ring the Bell, which is heavy softening into bash that pins, and is incredibly strong revenge locks. So great for finishing off opponents. Amazing for ganking. And then of course, every single move that he does, he can cancel his recoveries into a full block. That nets him so much freaking damage, and he's very hard to hit, and he is a hard hitter. So Aramusha is a big dubs in this meta right now. So this patch, he absolutely skyrocketed up there. I think he was still fairly like S tier in my opinion when you could use him decently, because his chain heavy attacks do a lot of damage. They have a huge hitbox, infinite chain attacks. He's just a goated character, man. His zone attack is also really good too. A very good hitbox on his zone and the unblockable heavy finishers that can also soft feint to deadly feints and go into your unblockable mix-up. So not much to say about Aramusha right now. You guys know Aramusha is kind of just spamming your ass down with his deadly feints and unblockable heavy finishers that just deal so much freaking damage. And so Aramusha, fairly straightforward character. I would be running deadly or bounty body count, but personally I think deadly is going to be your go-to because you're just going to shred people and do a crap ton of damage. Juggernaut is okay now. It's not going to be your best bet. Personally, I would run short tempered because when you do get smacked, you're going to deal 20% more damage on your next move, so it's pretty freaking insane. Second one is going to be a go-to, and then I would run Stalwart Banner or Fear Itself. Personally, I would run Fear Itself. Stalwart Banner is your second best bet, and then of course Aerostorm. So Aramusha, a winner in this meta, strong for duels, anti-ganking, and stalling, and ganks. So GG's everyone. And here is gonna be our Heihachi, or as some call in for honor, Sohei. Now Sohei, he's gotten some insane buffs here. So what the devs have done is that they basically buffed pretty much all of his damage values across the board, and then nerfed his one-shot essentially. And it's gonna, if I'm correct, it deals 72 damage now. It used to deal like 90. So this is a pretty big nerf when it comes to his one shot, but personally I don't think it's enough, because now he's gotten way more damage on all of his moves. And so this character is forward dodge bash, does more damage. That's kind of like that's pretty much the most amount of damage you can do with Sohei if you want to go for damage. But this character is very unique in the regards that he can get 6 souls, so he either has to get 2 guard breaks or he has to land all of those 4 MS light attacks, which are fairly easy to land because it's free damage. They're 400 MS, and you can easily grab that off of someone who tries to parry you. He also has hyper armor, neutral zone, and finisher zone, or chain zone, and those are very hard to guard break and interrupt. He also has hyper armor on his dodge attack now, so thanks Ubisoft, that's a fantastic idea. Let's just put more hyper armor on everything, like his forward dodge heavy. His forward dodge light also does more damage. His dodge attack has hyper armor now, so genius move, in my opinion. There's definitely a Sohei main in the devs. One of the devs is a Sohei main, for sure. And so I'm going to put Sohei in S tier now. This character, absolute monster. If you are not fighting the most comp stack ever, and you're fighting a bunch of random gamers, and there's either Sohei on another team, and your teammates like to parry, you've pretty much lost the game. If you have to play perfectly against him, once he has all of his souls, it's literally free damage, like free 72 damage, plus his tier 1, it's just going to be a lot of damage in general. So Sohei has a very strong mix where his unblockable heavies, basically you want to try to check him as much as you can. You don't want to eat a guard break, you want to dodge attack. you don't want to feed him souls. If you can react to it, good for you. But if you can't, this character is an absolute menace because he has hyper armor. He's very hard to guard break because his heavy attacks come out very fast. They're slow, but the hyper armor helps him out in so many ways. He is one of the fastest neutral hyper armor heavies in the entire game. And so Sohei is a hyper armor monster now. He has hyper armor dodge attacks. He has more damage. He has a slightly weaker bash into his one shot, but it makes up for it because of his higher damage values and more consistency on his mix-ups. And so Sohei, absolute god tier move right now. Honestly, god tier character, sorry. I don't like playing him because having that one shot, it just feels so cringe, honestly. I'll probably make a video on it because I know you guys have been asking for Sohei games, but Eye of the Demon is going to lower their defense by 25% for tier 1. Absolutely freaking insane with 60-second cooldown. You always want to be using this as free kills. Makes it so that ganking is so easy. Ganking is so easy when you have Sohei on your team because he has high damage now. His tier 1 is 25% reduction on defense. His tier 2, they did nerf Soul Soother. It doesn't heal you to full now, it just heals you 80, but that's still really strong. And then for tier 3, you kind of want to run the default, which is the Ancillary Might, which is going to give you 25% more damage while you have all 6 souls. And then, of course, Soul Waker is going to be your go-to. You don't want to run anything else. This automatically gives you all your 6 souls, and you can either hold a point forever because no one is going to try to fight you on a point. So you kind of just roam around, get free damage. And so Sohei, absolutely busted character and not very fun to fight against. There's people who love playing him, but there's also so many people that absolutely hate him, and I am definitely one of those people. I'm definitely one of those people. Now Hitokiwi, she did get some buffs as well. So her chain heavy attack is going to deal 24 damage, and what this means is that she's still going to be a heavy character. This character is absolutely brain dead, where you press one button and you can pretty much play her that way the entire time. You are, not even joking, you're just playing with one hand, and that is absolutely disgusting. And so they buffed her essentially, and I don't know if anybody was asking for buffs. I don't know who. Probably like the highest levels of players realize that, oh hey, my heavy attacks are not as unreactable as other characters, so let's buff her damage, her trading capabilities, all that good stuff. So basically her chain heavy, which is 24, used to deal 22 damage. Now it's buffed to 24. Neutral heavies were already 24, but now after a kick you can get 24 damage down. So it's 24 damage across the board on her entire mix-up. Her chain kick is very strong. Most of you guys are not reacting to this kick. The kick itself from neutral, or not from neutral, is going to be reactable. You can still, if she does light into kick, you can light check her, but if you get heavied into kick mix-up, you have to make a read. But you can react to the kick, but it's very hard to do so, especially since Hitokiwi can also feint it at the last second and also kind of flicker it too. But a lot of Hitokiwis don't do this. They mostly just spam heavies. So if you're not pairing those variable timed heavies, which have different timings to parry, you're going to take chip damage and you're going to die. So this character's just she also got more hyper armor. She also got hyper armor on her forward dodge heavy, so that's very neat. It was kind of a welcome change for her, since she is the hyper armor god. But then again, Sohei kind of takes that cake away from her now, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm putting Hitokiwi right up here in the solo carry tier. They did nerf her unblockable finisher heavies to 28. Still not a big deal. Still does a crap ton of freaking damage. I think she still is one of the best characters to play when you're drunk off your mind and you want to carry your clown teammates. You want to carry your clown teammates. So let's go over her feats here. You don't really need to use anything else besides heavies with this character, and then your feint your kick once in a while, and then boom shakalaka, let it all fly, because they're not going to expect you to let all your kicks fly. Deliverance is going to be insane, or fast recovery, but I like Deliverance because it forces players to guard break or bash to get me out of my executions. You're pretty much guaranteed execution with this character. I also tend to run Righteous Deflection for more defensive capabilities, so you have more defense. Tainted Gif is okay. You can run this because it heals your teammates when you do execute, but it's not that helpful in my opinion. But they did buff Spirit Shroud, so after you execute someone, you'll have 25% damage reduction until you die everywhere. So honestly, really good. Like, so you can have the 25% damage reduction on all points everywhere. So it's awesome. Instead of just running Bastion, which gives you that 10%, now you have 25%. And that's pretty insane for a tier 3. And then, of course, for the last one, running Zenbon Zakura, which is going to be your one-shot, or for yourself. Both of them are good. It doesn't really matter. Insane Duelist, powerful, incredibly powerful ganker, and very decent, honestly, very solid anti-ganker too, because Tower swap these heavy attacks, and then boom shakalaka, tons of value, because if you make those variable time, it's very scary to deal with if you're not reacting to it. Shinobi is next up in line, and she also got some pretty major buffs too. Basically, her Sickle Rain, and in general, her kit just doesn't feed as much revenge anymore. Now, Shinobi has always been a top tier character. Like, I'm just gonna put her straight up right there. They solo carry for days. Once you understand some things about her kit on how you can option select with her, it's just free real estate, honestly. You can option select blue/orange mix-ups, forces them to play on a layer 2 read. You can have one of the best mobility in the game with your double dodges. You can literally rotate around the map. You can run around the map and nobody can catch you except for maybe a Shaman. But you have one of the best offense in the game too. I mean, chain 5 kick, when you do land a parry riposte into an undodgeable or the kick mix-up, really fun mix-up. You also have forward dodge kick that pins and sets up some nasty ganks. You have a very good zone attack. They did nerf the zone slightly where you don't have as much forward momentum, but it doesn't really matter. It's already pretty freaking busted because it has a very huge hitbox. And then, of course, insane auto deflex with your double dodges. So deflex really good, teleports you behind them, goes to your chain mix-up. There's not really much to say about this character. This character has a very high skill curve, but also a fairly low skill floor because your dodge bashes keep you safe in a lot of defensive situations. So you have 2 of them. You can do 1 dodge, you can do 2 dodges into a bash. But then the thing is that your player has to play pretty defensively on that front, because once you know how to utilize the dodge into a forward dodge heavy or forward dodge kick, you kind of make it so that you're very safe in your defensive mechanics. And so Shinobi's a very tricky character. Good Shinobi is absolutely disgusting and not fun to fight against, in my opinion, unless you're picking an S tier character yourself. If you're picking, like, you know, a character like Magi or a character like Nuxia, you are pretty much screwed. In Peekeeper, there's like pretty much no way you're gonna win. You have to sweat your ass off. But Shinobi's very self-explanatory, man. He's hitting you. His lights has amazing hitboxes and travel distance, and he has really insane ganks with his Sickle Rain. So the less revenge is good for Shinobi. For tier 1, I would be running Bounty Hunter. That's gonna be your best bet. And then Shooting Stars is ridiculously broken. This is the most broken feat we have in the game right now, next to Oathbreaker. But I would rather get rid of Shooting Stars first before Oathbreaker. Just disable this feat because you can land 80 damage, 60 damage, or 20 damage with a tier 2 when you are just literally standing right in front of them. It's probably the most broken feat in the game, in my opinion. And so moving on to tier 3. So run as much as you want if you want to win, guys. But otherwise, if you want to be a gamer, you want to just be running Smoke Bomb. Other than that, you know, he's got no good feats for his tier 2. Tier 3, Slip Through is going to be your best bet. Run Slip Through because your dodge bash is going to deal more damage. Instead of 14, it's going to deal 16 or 18, I believe, and that's really strong for every single situation. I mean, it's a 3-second cooldown. You're bound to get another dodge bash in the next 3 seconds. And then tier 4 is going to be the Nail Bomb or Yamauba. These are good. Nail Bomb is probably better, but I like to run Yamauba because it's really good for clearing mid lane. You'll get all your HP back. And so that's Shinobi. Strong duelist, strong anti-ganker, and amazing staller because your mobility is absolutely insane. I would say if you don't have like tier reactions though, I think Shinobi can be a little bit more difficult to use, but his skill curve is so high. His skill ceiling is very high. So he has a lot of utility in that regard. So have fun playing him. Now we have our Kyoshin. Now Kyoshin is our favorite girl, or femboy, which is the new meta now apparently. And so Kyoshin, he did get nerf on his tier 1 feat, is Kagero. And that's going to deal a little bit less bleed damage. Still very good, in my opinion. It's pretty much the only one you want to be running. For his tier 1, that is. And so Kyoshin is basically a light into a dodgeball or light into bash character. I think that he is a powerful hero when used in the right hands. But I think in this meta, with so much unblockables left and right, he definitely has fallen from grace from, you know, being a absolute brain dead carry hero to someone who's not, you know, as powerful in my opinion. And so for Kyoshin, I'm going to put him in the A+ tier category. Now, his unblockable heavy is pretty reactable in my opinion. If you're kind of focused, you can definitely tell when his feint window is. But what makes him like really egregious and annoying to play against is his Fujin cuts. So his Kazakhstan's light attacks are very strong. I do want to put him up in the solo carry tier character list, but I feel that he is a little bit more manageable to deal with compared to these heroes. I'd rather fight a Kyoshin any day, but what he excels at is ganking. And so Fujin cuts, if someone does guard break, or if you guard break and you don't have your guard anymore, Fujin cuts is guaranteed. And so that allows a free heavy to the face. And if you know Kyoshin gank, you Fujin cuts, and you freaking guard break confirm for your teammate's heavy attack, and it's pretty freaking disgusting. So Kyoshin, absolute god tier character. So that's why I'm putting him in the A+ tier character. Is he brain dead? I definitely think he is, but you can definitely punish Kyoshin just sit in full block the entire time. And with the full block nerf, where your full block is draining stamina now, it means that he's not going to be able to stay there all the time. He actually, I played Kyoshin a bunch of times. You do notice it for him specifically because that's where he is scariest in my opinion. His undodgeable is great because it's really good hitboxes, but his full block has gotten nerfed in that regard. I still think he's a very good character. He's got a lot of tools, a lot of ganking tools, but he definitely is a little bit weaker. Still strong defensive capabilities with crush and counter light attacks. Forward dodge heavy is very good, especially when we target swap that puppy. And then he has Fujin cuts. So there's nothing bad about the character right now. Just the fact that you can't stay in full block anymore. Thank the goddess. Appreciate that, Ubisoft. So tier 1 Kagero, and tier 2 you can run. So Aerostorm is going to be your meta pick, but Hikarimore is going to be very good too, because this allows you to heal and deal bleed damage. So it's very good, or allows you to heal. The tier 3 allows you to initiate both of these tier 1 and tier 2 for a specific period of time. And then you have Mugen. Hoyo is going to be your best tier 4 in my opinion, or you can run Fear itself, doesn't really matter, both these are very strong. But this is going to be your meta pick because this pins and you get free damage on your enemies. So it's very powerful. Kyoshin's still a really good duelist, a really good team fighter and ganker. So have fun playing him and staying in full block most of the time. For Nobushi. So Nobushi, she is an easy solo carry hero. And some of you may be confused by this, but here are my reasonings. First of all, bleed is ridiculously strong with her. She has Way of the Shark, deals way more damage, a ton of freaking damage from her neutral heavies, her chain mix-ups. And most importantly, revenge becomes useless when there's a Nobushi on the other team. Not only can you not attack and punish the enemies that you're attacking, you have to watch out for the Nobushi. You have to respect her so much that you cannot do anything. If she lands 1 or 2 bleed and they stack, by the way, they stack, you're pretty much dead afterwards. There's no way you survive against a Nobushi when you are getting ganked. I promise you. She has insane ganking potential. She has ridiculous damage, and her kick also wall splats. Granted, it is reactable, but if you delay those, you change up your timings, and if you're not looking 2 inches from your screen, she is a menace. I'll tell you what, even though she has technically no openers, if she can dodge 1 bash and go into her chain mix-up, you're kind of cooked. So you have to respect her. And so that's why I'm going to put her in S tier, because she also has insane freaking ganking potential. If you guys don't know some of her gangs, you have to look them up. You know, free guard break into anytime someone guard breaks or gets guard broken, your bleed light attacks are guaranteed, and if they're bled, you know, they're gonna bleed out essentially. So that's free damage for you, and you can go into your chain mix-up. So now you have to fear a Nobushi that's in hidden stance, which has iframes and can recovery cancel after every single move, and have a neutral undodgeable that can absolutely devastate your HP bar. It is absolutely insane what she can do, especially in the right hands. She is a terrible character when you first pick her up, especially for noobs, because all they're doing is light attacking and dodge lighting with really good iframes, mind you. But once you understand the character, where she's a team fighter, a ganker, And if you have good reactions and good reads with her, her damage is out of this world. So pretty self-explanatory, top tier character for those reasons. Speedy Revive or Body Count is going to be your best bet. Arrow Strike is going to be your go-to. Second Wind or Longbow, both of them are insane. And then I would always be running Fire Traps. So Nobushi, god tier character for not anti-gank. Her anti-gank is pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie to you. But her ganking is top freaking tier. Probably one of the best ganks in the entire game, because all you have to do is just use your undodgeable when your teammate goes for a bash. It's free real estate, baby. Free real estate. And good, like, okay stalling, I would say. Great for mid clear. But overall, you know, her weaknesses are duels, but if you can make good reactions and good reads on that, she's actually pretty freaking good. Quite underrated, quite goated if I say so myself. Quite freaking goated. All right, moving on here to Orochi. Orochi, listen, personally, I think Orochi is, I don't think he's S tier anymore. Now, is he A+ tier powerful? Yes, I definitely think he is incredibly powerful. And the thing is that he is one of the, I think he's the most popular character in the entire game. So that means you know his entire mix-ups. It's either forward dodge kick, it's going to be zone, it's going to be forward dodge into storm rush undodgeable. And so all Orochis are predictable as hell. I'll tell you what. It's only when an Orochi is incredibly patient and knows how to team fight is when they become scary. And so their 1v1 potential, everything is reactable. Unblockable heavy is reactable, even by me. And forward dodge into zone to catch people can be a decent mix-up, but if they're looking out for that, that's a free parry, and then you're kind of cooked, you know? Riptide Strike is a decent iframe defensive move, and so is your dodge attack that's undodgeable. So it's good to counter Virginosa and other characters that are iframing around. But overall, I don't think he's do I carry with him? Yes, but I also play him to the highest level. You know, I am baiting stuff out. I am playing methodically. I am playing out of my mind. But I also, when I'm playing him brain rot, I think he is a carry hero still. And so I'm putting him in A+ tier. I'm downplaying him, okay? I'm downplaying him because he's one of my mains. And he got the Rikimaru skin from Tenchu. But I'm not really downplaying. I think he's a good character, but he's very easy to counter, especially for a lot of these casts. I mean, Aramusha counters the crap out of him. Jangjun, Tiandi, all these characters, Sohei with hyper armor, all these characters up here absolutely demolish Orochi, who is not locked in. And so Orochi is fairly straightforward, you know, fairly straightforward, good deflex, sure, but breaks through hyper armor. But otherwise, a lot of people already know how to fight him, and there's so many Orochis that rage quit constantly. And so let's go over his feats. Bounty Hunter, run that. Don't run Ki anymore, it's terrible. Kunai is insane, tier 2 that deals 15 damage. Longbow, you want to run this if you are not good at deflex. But even so, if you want to run Slip Through, it's going to be, I think it's more honorable. We are playing for honor, aren't we? But Slip Through is great because your dodge attacks deal way more damage. You do like you deal like 18 damage for a dodge attack. It's actually insane. Wait, yeah, you deal like 18 freaking damage for a dodge attack. It's quite ridiculous because so your initial attack does 12 plus the initial 4, which is going to be 16 damage dodge attack, and then you have a buff for Slip Through. And it becomes like 18 if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it's 18. It makes a big difference at the end of the day. And of course your deflex get more damage. And so with Orochi, he's still going to remain an A+ tier character, very powerful, and gets the job done. Great for dueling, especially someone who's not reacting. If you're fighting a react hard, it's very hard to use Orochi because they react to your unblockable. And they're even reacting to your unblockable into zone mix-up, so you can do an unblockable into a side heavy, which freaking is BEA beautiful. I've done that all the time against some react hards because they go for the parry on the initial zone attack, so they have to make a layer 2 read essentially. But that's really fun to do with Orochi, but otherwise he's very hard to use against a very skilled player. And at the highest levels, dueling capabilities are not that great. You have to play completely defensive. So Orochi, incredibly powerful, and I would not underestimate him. Still really easy to play and brain dead at the same time. Lastly, for our samurai, we are going to have Shugoki, and Shugoki is a menace, in my opinion. Absolute menace. He's going straight up in the carry tier, and let me explain to you why. Variable timed heavies. Are you pairing these heavies? I don't think you are. These are insanely good. They have hyper armor for the neutral heavies and finisher heavies. They become unblockable. They're variable timed. His light attacks are also enhanced, so it goes into his chain bash. His chain bash, they buffed it, and it deals 12 damage instead of 10. This makes a big difference because you're able to break the HP breakpoints and kill your opponent. So anytime someone is hit stun, they are guard breaking or anything, your forward dodge bash is going to be guaranteed with no damage reduction whatsoever. So any character that has a forward dodge bash or a bash that deals direct damage, like Aramusha's, Shugoki, and Lu Bu with this forward dodge bash that's hold that deals 18 damage, that is going to be free real estate, and it's going to make and break someone's stalling or ganking capabilities. And so Shugoki, with all of that combined, it's so freaking strong and annoying to fight against him. His dodge bash also has amazing iframes. It is guard break punishable, but it has really good utility. His zone attack also has hyper armor, very good hitbox, and overall, really good character, man. Super fun to use. His demon ball, which is guard break, if you're near a wall, he gets a light or a zone into chain mix-up. So he gets health back as well on his hug, which is really strong. Like, it's a pin. It gives you HP. For tier 1, you want to be running either Throw Farther or Speedy Revive. Short Tempered is your go-to. I don't think you need to run Juggernaut anymore. You deal so much more damage with Short Tempered, in my opinion. And then you can either run Longbow or Punch Through. I like running Punch Through because a lot of people are not going to be pairing your heavies, and all of these attacks, your light attacks and your heavy attacks, they all add up. Like, your light attacks become like 6. They literally become 6 chip damage, and then your heavy attacks become, I believe it's like 8 or something, or 10. It's actually a very large number. And so if they don't parry one heavy attack, they've taken basically a light attack. Moving on to Staggering Blows, is going to be tier 4, pretty much the best tier 4 for him. Knocks your teammates down, so be very careful. But overall, Shugoki's insane duelist, great team fighter, and really good stalling capabilities. So Shugoki is absolute god tier. And now we move on to the Viking faction. So the Viking faction, I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can. There hasn't been too many changes with the Viking faction, so it's going to remain relatively the same, at least according to my biases and perspectives. And so when it comes to Raidher, he does have a really strong kit, I'm not going to lie to you. Having a neutral unblockable zone is great. It is great. It clips people, forces reactions from team fights, and even from neutral and OS pressure, so that's kind of his OS pressure. But as an insane hitbox, he has Stampede Charge, which can ledge, and it's a great pinning tool for ganks. And so that already alone sets him apart from a lot of the characters that have that are an A or B tier, which we don't have anyone in right now. But it makes them very strong. Storming Tap is a decent and strong opener. I'd say it's still strong because it forces players to react and focus on trying to block or parry his Storming Tap. Otherwise, he can chip you down with his heavy attacks that are triple chain and has hyper armor. So it's really neat that he has chain hyper armor. His zone attack also a pretty good hitbox, and he, overall is a fairly standard character. 3 chain lights, 3 chain heavy attacks, a 4 MS storming tap. Overall, he's a great character to pick up and fairly fair to fight against. And not much I can say about him, to be honest with you. It's just all heavies, soft faintable heavy attacks as well with hyper armor. You're just going for some trades, and that's pretty much it. Not much to say. He's just a fun character to fight against, in my opinion. Now tier 1, I would use Rush, but you can kind of use any other feats here, to be honest. Tireless and Body Count are great. Mark for Death is good, but I would tend to run Inspire or Bear Trap. Second one is also very solid. Fury is good. Battle Cry, I like using that one more than those other 2 feats because it gives a damage buff to your entire team and makes the minions run away from you. And then Fire Flask or Stalwart Banner is going to be your go-to. Like I said, pretty straightforward. He has really good dueling capabilities. His anti-ganking is not terrible. His stalling is not terrible either. Just a solid overall character that has good team fights, that has good duels, that has great ganking capabilities and good ledging potential. So he's got a lot of clutch potential, in my opinion, and that's pretty much Raidher. Now moving on to Warlord, though. So Warlord is in a different situation. So he did get buffed recently, and most of the characters got buffed. It's mostly essentially just the zone changes, so he can use zone more, so it's better for team fights, and it allows him to it just allows him to be a little bit more aggressive in team fights. Now, Warlord, a lot of people still don't know how to fight this character. He has frame advantage on a lot of things because his neutral lights have hyper armor. I mean, his neutral lights are enhanced, and it goes into hyper armor heavy. So it forces you to kind of parry him, or you're going to take chip damage, and he's just going to keep, you know, chipping you down slowly. He does have a 4-dodge bash, which is not too shabby. But the greatest thing about this character is his full block. Now, the full blocks did get nerfed, but he has a lot of options within his full block. He can do his undodgeable heavy attack, a zone attack, a light, a normal heavy attack. He'd also dodge out of it as well. But, you know, for Warlord, I consider him... I play him a lot, so I know his weaknesses and his strengths. And so personally, I really do think that he is a A+ hero with not too many glaring weaknesses. And so his strengths is defense, a strong full block. He's got crush and counter light attacks. He's got undodgeable zone. He pretty much covers almost every single situation, but he doesn't do it as well as, you know, other characters. He also has neutral hyper armor on his neutral heavy attacks and his finishers, and so on paper he's not a bad hero. He's not a bad hero at all, and that's why I'm gonna rate him an A+ tier. A lot of people think he's like a dog shit character, but I personally don't. I run this character against, you know, stacks and whatnot, and he does perfectly fine. He can stall, he can get reliable damage in. It's just that when you're getting ganked, you're pretty much screwed, but overall I think he can hold his own against a lot of the top tiers. And so for Warlord, I would be running Rush or Deadly is going to be your best bet. I would be running either Bear Trap or Juggernaut for more damage reduction. And then, of course, I like to run Punch Through because I like to delay my heavies tremendously. And sometimes it'll smack people in the face or make it so that they want to parry or they just take chip damage from my lights and my heavy attacks and even my zone attacks too. Fury is good. It's going to be great for Fire Flash, but I run Auto Revive just for the memes because I'm still doing really well with Warlord. I think he's a really good character. I don't find him boring at all, and I think he's really a great character to pick even against all of the S-tier bullshit we have in this meta. Next character is going to be Berserker. Okay, so Berserker, I think Berserker has some challenges. He definitely has some challenges in this meta due to a lot of the hyper armor just out trading him. But the thing about Berserker is that I'm going to rate him an A+ tier. And the reason why is because you can no-brain a lot with Berserker and still get a lot of value. His target swap dodge attack still remains really powerful, but I would say the only weakness he has is not really having, you know, an opener in team fights. But if you play him like defensively and methodically, you can definitely do some good damage. But you know, now that I think about it, I think his weakness is going to be potentially not having strong team fight capabilities. Even Warlord has better team fighting capabilities because he can just heavy into heavy and get some good trades, and he also has his zone attack to help him out in so many situations. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I do tremendously well with Berserker when I'm not recording and when I'm just no-braining because his heavy attacks, his chain 4MS light attacks, which are 4MS light, but they are the most reactable 4MS lights in the entire game because they're pretty predictable. Heavy into light is his mix-up, his main bread and butter. But, you know, these characters in A tier are still good, but they have their weaknesses, and Zerker doesn't do that well in team fights against like really good players because he doesn't really have openers. He can target swap dodge attack, but that's pretty much it. But if they're blocking, your chain ends and you can't really do anything. But at the end of the day, great roll catcher, hyper armor and everything. It's not bad, but it's definitely not great either, at least compared to all these characters over here. He can win some trades, but he takes a lot of hits in my opinion, and taking a lot of hits in this crazy meta, it may not be the best idea. Zerker, I think he can kind of fall between the A+ tier or the A tiers, but his weakness is just having no openers. You have to play very defensive and methodically. So Bounty Hunter is going to be your go-to. You want to be running Doom Banner all the time. Throwing Axe is incredibly fast, 25 damage with a 6-second cooldown, and then Fire Flash or Fear Itself. I prefer running Fear Itself because you just deal more damage in general. You can kind of help your teammate just by existing and having that tier 4 popped. So really strong. character for pretty much most situations. Like, even his anti-gank capabilities are quite good. His stalling capabilities are pretty decent too, since he has hyper armor to trade and he can charge swap those light attacks, and his zone attack is also really funny too, but you know, don't use that too much. VGuard. VGuard is going to go right up there on the A+ hero. Now, she did get nerfed a while ago with her enhanced lights just getting absolutely deleted. So her forward dodge bash is going to be her main opener. What her kit basically revolves around is punishing people who dodge attack when you let your unblockable heavies fly. This character is so strong when it comes to being defensive, and so you have to respect that. Her unblockable heavies have a tremendous amount of range, and you have to respect the crap out of her when she goes into her chain mix-up, because she also has, you know, chain light attacks that are crushing counter properties. Her neutralizer crushing counter properties, so she's just a very safe character overall. She's fallen from grace in my opinion, because one thing is that a lot of people aren't playing her as often, and so that might be affecting how I feel about her. But in general, her mix-ups, it's a lot harder to go into now. And so she has to rely on that forward dodge bash. Before, she could just light every single time, and you have to go for a parry, and their neutral heavies become a lot scarier. But now, if she goes into her bash, then that's really the only way that she can initiate her offense. And so with VGuard, forward dodge light into unblockable, and it's just light into unblockable, light into unblockable, into full block, and that's pretty much the extent of the character. Very simple, quite brain dead, and gets a lot of value just by existing in the battlefield. So Take Shelter is going to be your go-to. You want to run that. You want to run Misthia Ward as well, heal your teammates, and Acer's Aura for more damage on when you do land a full block. Quite insane in my opinion. And then of course Reclaim the Land is your go-to because it deals damage and puts it down a Doom Banner. Otherwise you just run Stalwart Banner. So not much to say about VGuard. It's still an excellent dueler, a powerful ganker, because the range of her unblockable heavies and being able to full block cancel on every single move to be safe from dodge attacks, like quite insane and underrated if I say so myself. And of course, really good anti-ganker as well. So she's got pretty much everything she needs to be a viable hero in this meta. Now moving on to the next character, and that's going to be our Thick Thighs, Save Lives Valkyrie. Valkyrie, okay, so she's kind of tricky, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to put her straight in the mid tier, the meh tier. Now, she's not a terrible character by all means, okay? One thing is that a lot of people don't play her. I see a lot of Rep 70 Valkyries, but the thing is, I don't really see them that often. I know they exist, and I know that Valkyrie has, you know, strong potential here and there, but personally I think her kit just needs kind of like an overhaul. It's clunky to an extent to play, and just getting guard broken out of most of her moves is quite annoying, and I guarantee you they're going to add a finisher undodgeable at one point, and once they do that, she's going to be like all the way up here afterwards. And so she has a 4MS bash from neutral that does take a while to set up, and so that's kind of her weakness, but once someone hits it, she can guard break them for 24 damage. So that's quite good. Like, that's not bad. And she can just opt for the bash as well. That nets her a 16 damage light punish. But going for the guard break is going to be your highest damage potential. But in team fights, I feel like it's a little bit hard to use. I don't really use it that much. Only in duels do I use that. So she is good. I don't think she's a weak character. I just think she's a meh character. So if you want to pick her, you can do well with her. Personally, I would probably put her in A tier, but I just think this character is kind of meh in general. You know, it's kind of meh. I think she requires you to play a little bit more methodically. You can't just be pressing light. Even though her chain finisher light does wall splat, it is quite nice, but she does require a little bit of methodical play, and you're not going to be getting as much value as all of these characters up here, in my honest opinion. And so, do I think she's a weak character? No. Do I think she requires a lot of effort to play? Yes. And that is how I feel about her. I've played her so many times, countless opportunities to play her and fight against her. I just don't think she's that menacing compared to all these other characters. And so, even though she has crushing counter lights, her hitboxes on her heavies are okay. And then she has a sweep, 5 RMS sweep that will pin and guarantee 24 damage. Overall, I don't think she's like that strong, and she needs a rework in my opinion, an overhaul. And so for her feats, you can kind of run all of these. These are all really good. Bounty Hunter, Deadly, Rush, all insane. Bloodlust is really good. Bear Trap and Jarkanaut are great too. And I would personally be running Javelin, still 40 damage, really insane. Or you can run Fury with Fire Flask and Scout. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Valkyrie. Not much to say. She's fairly straightforward, and I think she needs some help, in my opinion. She does need some help. Moving on to Shaman, though. Now, Shaman, here's the thing about Shaman. Shaman, she also is a popular character, too. Not, like, to the extent of maybe Orochi, but she is picked a lot. And with her recent buffs on her hitboxes, on her heavy attacks, and her unblockables, and all that stuff, personally, I think she is a solid hero now. She has strong strengths, which is amazing dueling capabilities, and her weaknesses kind of revolve around the teamfighting aspects, but even so, she still has like pretty decent recoveries on her heavy attacks. She can soft feint her chain heavy into a dodge, and you have to fear her most when she's dueling you. So on a bleed, it is quite scary to be bleeding against a Shaman because they're gonna nom you. They're gonna get they're gonna get freaking 35 damage. They're gonna get 39 damage because of the first bleed tick. If she waits and she doesn't get the bleed tick in general, or like if she waits and she waits like a couple of ticks for the bleed, then she'll get more damage potential. But a bite is 35 damage, plus healing your HP is insane swing potential, health swing potential. So Shaman's got it made. You're not able to, I would say 99% of the player base is not able to react to Shaman's heavy into soft feint form as light attack. Because only people who are god tiers at 1v1s are going to be able to do this, but most of them, I would say they're not even reacting to this. You have to be like hyper focused. Only the 0.001% are react to this, and you're not fighting them constantly, especially in Dominion. And the reason why I put her a lot higher, I used to put her in mid tier, but with those recent buffs, she's like very strong duelist, and she can get away from fights and run away and catch people. So she's got a role to play. If you play that role well, you're gonna absolutely dominate with her. Her zone is okay. You can get parried constantly if you use it. I'm gonna make a video on, or short at least, to parry Shaman's zone. It's fairly easy and make her a lot weaker, hopefully. But great bites, great ledging potential. Actually, one of the best ledging characters in the entire game. And, you know, overall, just a fairly strong character with soft feintable, unblockable heavies and heavies in general, and just bleeds that will eventually just chip you down, man. Like, she is a threat in the right hands, and you can kind of no-brain with her and get a lot of value. You know, kind of get a lot of value with her. And so we're going to run over here to her feats. You can pretty much run all of these. Like, Rush is great. You're going a mile a minute here. And you got Storming Trap, which is great because it deals 20 damage, stealth to hide away from stuff. But I like to run Bear Trap because you just make traps everywhere, get some good ledges, and you get so much damage when the enemy is trapped. Forward dodge heavy, into chain light is guaranteed. You can either run Fairy, Second Wind, or Hand Axe. Both are great. Fire Flask or Nail Bomb. And so that is for our Shama Mama. Pretty straightforward character now. Great hitboxes and unreactable offense to most of the player base. So definitely something that you should not be messing around with. She is scary. I want to hide under my bed every single time I see her. Honestly, like that's why I rate her so high. Is like she actually can be menacing and threatening if you underestimate her. So moving on to Highlander. Highlander is also on another level. Highlander is going to be right up here on your A+ tier carry hero. Now, Highlander he can be tricky to use. He has a high skill curve, but he also has a low skill floor. You can kind of just hyper armor through. You have crushing counters for your neutral light attacks, and you also have an amazing dodge attack that animations kind of jank when you tar swap dodge attack. And of course, you can go into your finisher heavy afterwards to get some amazing trades. So he's got insane hitboxes for all of his heavies. Like when you tar swap away and there's an enemy on the right side of you or the left side, and you freaking just throw a heavy out, that heavy attack's gonna smack them in the face. He's got one of the best phantom range in the entire game. It's not even close. I think it is the best, personally. Even better than Jing Jun's. So with Highlander being able to transition to offensive stance and doing all these crazy combos, let's just talk about offensive stance. Offensive stance basically has 4MS lights from all sides. It's top now. It used to be 5MS on the top. Now it is literally 5MS everywhere, so he's going to chip you down with that. He can go into a kick, which is feintable. He can go into a caber toss, which is very fast, which is do a forward dodge and a caber toss. That is also very fast, so great for ganking situations, landing free damage on block stun opponents. And you never really want to, you know, take your eye away from the Highlander. It's great to try to light check him or zone check him, but he can also dodge into a dodge attack within his offensive stance. So he's got a lot of tools and a lot of things to mix you up with. So he is one of the most menacing characters, especially if someone knows how to use them correctly. But otherwise, you can just do light and heavy, and that'll still get a lot of value, in my opinion. And just the ganking potential and the unblockable heavy attacks that he has from neutral is already a threat. So you do have to watch out for him because there's so many things that you can do that you have to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you're screwed. And as a Highlander player, you don't really need to pay attention too much. And you can get a lot of value just by being a freaking badass and just staying in a very pretty skirt. For his tier 1, I would be running either Rush or Fast Recovery. Fast Recovery so you can, you know, attack more, get your stamina back. But I like running Rush because he's so freaking slow. And then either run Inspire or Winner's Advantage. And then, of course, Second Wind or Longbow. And even Fury, too. Like, these are both great feats to run. But I like using Second Wind, especially since Bleed is such a prominent thing in this meta. I mean, Shaman's out there constantly. We have Nobushi as well. And then Peacekeeper at the same time. And then Champion's Aura is amazing. I like running this way more than Fire Flash and Spearstorm. This counters so many things. And that's personally what I would rate a Highlander. Great for dueling, amazing for team fights, and amazing for ganking. This character cannot be trifled with, in my opinion. Now, next up we have Jormungandr. Jormungandr, honestly, he is so freaking busted right now. He is, well, he got nerfed on his Hammer Slam. He used to do 32 damage, now it deals 30 if I'm correct. Let me just double check here real quick, because Jormungandr, because he had that strong pin, which is unreactable, eating that move or eating a guard break and knee into light, which he regains his health back on his tier 1, is so freaking devastating to your HP. So basically, what move? How much damage does it do right now? Deals 30 damage. So it used to deal 32. Now it deals 30. That is still a significant number in my opinion. And what makes Jormungandr so strong is that you can brain rot with this character. Forward dodge heavy option selects a lot of chain bash moves because they can't guard break you. It's very hard to guard break this character. It also has hyper armor. Your lights are enhanced, so if you don't parry him, he goes into his mix-up. His zone attack has very good range. His chain zone also has hyper armor, has very impeccable range. And then, of course, his heavy attacks wall splat you. So the unblockable heavy, you don't parry that, you're getting wall splat. But even if you dodge, he can guard break you and just wall splat you again anyways. His neutral heavies, they are very low damage. His top one's 22, his side one's is 20, but he makes up for that in the wall splat category. Like, it literally takes away your entire HP pool, and when you're out of stamina, it is quite threatening to be against a Jormungandr, because his chain bash is feintable, it pins, deals 20 damage, deals 30 damage, and if it's not, if you don't get pinned by, you get guard broken, it's 22 damage because the knee is $10. The knee is 10, and then followed by a 12 damage light attack. So overall, his damage is really high. His hyper armor is there. He has a dodge attack. He has a forward dodge bash. You know, his mix-ups overall is incredibly scary. You know, this character is freaking busted, in my opinion. So he's going up right there in the solo carry tier, man. Absolutely solo carry character, in my opinion. And finally, we are on the Knight faction. The Knight faction is quite interesting, so I hope you guys enjoy the ride. I'm trying to go through it as fast as possible. But Centurion, start with Centurion. So he currently has a bug right now where a fully charged heavy guarantees a level 1 bash. So if you're playing duels, it does matter, because if you do get a light parry, you should go for a fully charged heavy, which the heavy attack, which it's going to be 27 damage when you fully charge it. So 27 damage plus 12 is going to be 39 damage, and then plus 5, it's going to be 39, it's going to be 44 damage. So 44 damage for a light parry and 44 damage for a fully charged heavy. So pretty freaking strong though. And it's actually busted, to be honest with you. It's actually broken as hell. Light parry for that much damage. And so here's the thing. Centurion with that bug, this is solo carry category because his wall splat damage is insane. He's already god tier at heavy parry punishes. He gets 22 with the knee, guaranteed knee follow up, and a punch. That's 22 damage already. And then, of course, he has a really strong chain punch, charge punch mix-up, which is unreactable, very strong, very powerful, very threatening, especially since it pins and knocks you down so that the enemy team can land a free heavy on you. And then he has a really good forward dodge kick as well that can be, if you do whiff it, you can throw a heavy out afterwards, a variable timed heavy. And then, of course, he has variable timed heavy. So this character ain't no joke. He's strong. He's got a lot of utility. If he didn't have this bug, personally, I would put him down in A tier, A plus tier, okay? This is him without the bug. He's got almost everything he needs to deal with pretty much every single situation. He's even not like terrible in when he's getting ganked because his zone has a very big hitbox. It's feightable. You can target swap these moves so that it forces the enemy to not attack you. But with this bug, he is in solo carry tier, and I don't know when Ubisoft is gonna fix this. If they fix it within the month, that's fantastic. But if they take an entire season like they did to nerf Virginosa, then Zen is going to remain a solo carry hero. A lot of people think he deserves this 42 and 46 damage or 47 damage parry and neutral heavy attack, but I think they're freaking batshit crazy. But right now, in this current meta and what is currently being abused right now for Centurions, he is an absolute freaking S tier. You can't get parried, you can't get light parried, and you have to watch out for his fully charged heavy when you're getting ganked because a free guard break, if you get guard broken, that is guaranteed for him. So for Centurion, I would run either. Wait, this is not Centurion. This is Warden. What am I doing? What am I actually doing here, y'all? So for Centurion, you kind of just want to run. The most important thing is Haymaker and then Bounty Hunter. Run those two. Do not run anything else. And then Pugio is going to be your best friend. And then, of course, you can either run Phalanx or Catapult or Stalwart Banner. Those are perfectly fine. So with his dueling capabilities, absolutely top tier. His team fighting is okay. Not the best, in my opinion. That's kind of his weakness. That's why I put him like A+, if he didn't have that nerf. And then, of course, if he didn't have that bug. And then, of course, his stalling capabilities, not terrible either, but could be better. But he really excels in ganking and dueling, and once you focus on that, he's absolutely freaking busted. And let's move on to Warden. So Warden has gotten, overall, this character is just a solid hero. I think that he can excel really well in the minion lane. So if he's in the minion lane, kind of like Juren, he's gonna absolutely dominate. But the thing with the Warden is that I think you kind of need decent reactions. But with the addition of his zone being buffed, personally, I think he's gonna go right here in the A tier category. So Warden, I believe, since he had that zone buff, he can kind of spam it willy-nilly now. Every single time unblock him in a zone. But his weakness is that he doesn't have a dodge attack, right? So his forward dodge bash, very strong, unreactable offense. But there's so many characters that have dodge attacks, and they can delay their dodge attacks so that a lot of times you can miss your fully charged bash because of the amazing iframes. Gryphon can do this to you. Shaowin can do this to you. Tiandi, Zhanhu, a lot of the iframe characters can do this to you. Even Nobushi can counter you that in that regard with their hidden stance. And so Warden has to play methodically. You can't just play him willy-nilly and throw attacks left and right because you're going to take hits. You don't have amazing recoveries. The only good recoveries you have is after a zone, but even so, very hard to parry moves, and you can't dodge out of stuff. So that's kind of his weakness. He's great in minion lane with his new feats, but doesn't really have that much going for him when it comes to, ganking that well. Like, granted, he does have a forward dodge bash to use in ganks, but it can easily be countered just by getting lighted out of it when you're trying to gank someone. And in anti-gank situations, I will say he's not terrible. He's not terrible on it. Anti-ganking is okay. His ganking is okay. His stalling is okay because you can tar swap with his new animations, his zone attack. After every single bash, you get guaranteed damage because there's hyper armor on every single move, and he also has a side heavy that has pretty good hitboxes too, in case you don't want to go for the top one. which deals more damage, but the side one can also be feightable, and you get some nice damage from that if you do want to go for some trades. And so Warden does have some trading capabilities, but overall, you know, his defensive moveset is just not on par with other characters, you know, and that's kind of where he falls short. But you know, his kit works in a 1v1 situation, so you can finish people off really well, but if you're fighting like a Juren or something like that, you're pretty much cooked. You have to make sure that you're reacting and making good reads. So death toll is what you want to run, and people's okay. It's not terrible. Threatening comebacks are going to be your go-to, especially if you're going to be anti-ganking. And then second win is going to be your best bet. And then of course Trebuchet is freaking ridiculously busted. It's pretty much a free 70 damage because nobody is getting away from this move at all. It comes out in like 1 second. There's no way you're reacting to this. Now moving on to pretty much a somewhat similar character is Warmonger. Warmonger is on a different level though. So Warmonger, she is quite strong, and the main thing is that it's because of her corruption. If she didn't have that corruption, she wouldn't be as powerful. She wouldn't be in the... Personally, I think she is an A+ tier character. I think you can argue that she can be a solo carry hero, but I think it's also important to note that she did get a buff. I think this is a buff, in my opinion, because this works really well in matchmaking games. Against high-level players, this may not work and be as beneficial to you. Because what they did with her was that after a forward dodge bash, basically you get a light attack afterwards, she can do a chain light now, or go into a finisher heavy. And the reason why this is helpful is that before she would have to go back to neutral. She would be frame advantage. She would have to go back to neutral and do a forward dodge bash again. But her lights were not enhanced anymore. So she's stuck using a forward dodge bash, which is pretty much your bread and butter. But a lot of players liked throwing out lights to go into her mix-up, and that stops your mix-up of, you know, throwing a light and a heavy attack, because they expect you to just go into your bash afterwards. And so if you just block a light, her chain ends right away. And so what they did was they allowed her to use her chain light to go into her mix-up. And so the thing about this move is that it's a very wonky animation. It's a very jank animation, so you kind of have a hard time pairing her to an extent. And so that's why I rate her very high now. And most importantly, her chain bash, if you fully charge it and there's a wall nearby, it gets a top heavy, man. It deals a crap ton of damage. Like her normal fully charged bash into a heavy, the heavy only deals 20 damage plus the bleed. It's I believe it's a 29 damage punish, if I am correct. It's either 29 or 29 damage in total with the bleed and the heavy attack, but the heavy attack only deals 20. But if you land the fully charged heavy attack, or fully charged bash, you can land a top heavy for 27 plus the initial bleed. So quite powerful. I think the bleed's like 8 or 9 damage for ticks. But anyways, the best part about her character is dodge unblockable. This has amazing iframes and is feightable and makes a pretty scary, very scary threat when it comes to getting ganked by her, because that unblockable really fucks up your indicators. And then of course corruption is ridiculously strong. I don't have to explain to you what corruption does. Basically, it just means that you're gonna die and no one's gonna come help you. So corruption blade, you want to be running this for tier 1, tier 2 elixir of corruption or arrow strike, but I tend to run this elixir of corruption, or default feats are gonna be your best bet. Don't run punch through, and then corruption blast literally blasts everybody in the AoE, and so that everyone has corruption. And then it's a team winning tier 4, basically team winning tier 4. And so Warmonger has an insane dueling potential, great team fight capabilities, great ganks, and pretty solid anti-ganks too, if I say so myself, and really good chase with her forward dodge heavy being undodgeable. Like one of the best forward dodge heavies in the entire game. Like on God, for real. And Warmonger just kind of, you know, she just kind of obliterates Warden in so many ways. The only thing I would say that Warden beats her in is in 1v1 potential, because his bash mix-up is a vortex, and it's just a lot better than Warmonger in my opinion. But Warmonger can definitely hold her own if you got good reactions and good reads. Now, moving on to our boy, Blackprior. So Blackprior, he hasn't changed much. Obviously, he's going to suffer from the nerf on the full block, which is good, so that we don't have players just sitting in full block the entire time. But Blackprior is still going to be an absolute goated dog in the A+ tier category. One Oathbreaker exists, so you're not going to be able to freaking anti-gank when this character has Oathbreaker. It's not fun, but that just means that you get to die quicker and you can respawn and fight again. So he has crushing counters on his neutral light attacks. He has the orange slash undodgeable mix-up, so orange slash blue. So it's light into bash or light into undodgeable. They also buffed his zone, so you can use this a lot more now. This makes him so strong, and you can play him a lot more aggressive. And that is a great thing, because usually if you press zone once, you're not going to be able to use any other mix-ups at all. Like, it would take half your stamina bar, and once you do the unblockable, which is your only thing you can do after a light, when it comes to the zone, you would pretty much be under half stamina, and it would be very risky to try to do more mix-ups after that. But now, since it's been reduced significantly, you can spam like 3 or 4 zones within a fight and still have stamina to counter defensive measures. So this is such a huge buff for Blackbriar. He was already still really strong, but this just solidified his spot in the A+ tier category. So not much to say about Blackbriar. Forward dodge heavy is a great roll catcher. He is the best at stalling, in my opinion, in many ways, because his full block can flip literally everything. So if you go with the full block, you're going to be unstoppable with him, like absolutely unstoppable. Tier 1, Sinister Shield is your go-to. Tier 2, Healing Ward. If you want to be meta, you go Doom Banner, but I like staying in my my full block. It takes a while for you to lose all your stamina on full blocks anyways, and so this nerf doesn't affect people who actually know how to play the game and don't just turtle up and do nothing. And then tier 3, Oathbreaker or Tough as Nails is going to be your best. And then Umbral Shelter recently got a buff, and so this is going to do 3 pulses, and it's going to keep your shield even after the tier 4 is over. So I really like that. It's really strong compared to his previous one. His previous one was really good for like in the moment damage, but Umbral Shelter overall now is going to be just much better, because it shields that stack, and I love that. Shields that stack, and I prefer that over the previous one, you know, in my opinion. So great duelist, amazing ganker as well, and anti-ganker, you know, at the same time. Yeah. Gladiator is going to be the next character I'm going to talk about, and so Gladiator is also kind of in a tricky spot too, but I feel like he's also pretty straightforward at the same time. And he's going to be a simple A-tier hero. He's strong, but he also has clear defining weaknesses, and that's simply he has no team fighting. You know, he doesn't have good team fighting capabilities. Like, he can let out that chain heavy fly, but that's pretty much it. Because if you do a skewer instead, you can just dodge it, and it only does bleed. So it doesn't really have that much, you know, it doesn't really have that much of a threat when it comes to other characters like Highlander, VGuard, Shaowin, you know, Jingjun, Lu Bu, just throwing the unblockable heavy. Gladiator has to play very safe and methodical. Now, what he has is good, but it just doesn't do everything, as most characters should be, in my opinion. And so, when we talk about Gladiator's mix-ups, his 6 RMS toe step is reactable if you're paying attention, so that doesn't work against high-level players, so you can't do anything in that regard. You cannot do anything against a high-level player. You have to play very safe, but against most of the player base, you can use that from neutral. And most importantly, they did buff his zone, so now you can use your zone so much more and not be out of stamina. So that's great, but it's still a 600 MS move. I would say most people aren't dodging this all the time, and you can kind of guard break them for the mix-up because they might preemptively dodge. And so that's very helpful for Gladiator. But what does improve is that his chain bash, chain toe stab is 5 MS, so that's unreactable. So that can be very helpful against high level players. And his skewer does a crap ton of damage. If I'm correct, it does 37 damage, and so does his deflect. Like, absolutely one of the best deflects in the game. It does bleed only, and you can also throw an opponent and get some wall splat or ledging potential. So it makes him really strong in that department for duels, especially against someone who is not a reactard. So Gladiator can be very strong in the right hands. He's definitely not a weak character. He's not a weak character at all. These A-tier heroes are strong. They can be strong in duels, but they just have weaknesses like big team fights. You're going to get hit by a lot of unblockables and hyper armor if you're not paying attention and playing safe with them. And so overall, this character can do really well, but don't overextend, otherwise you're going to die. His ganking capabilities are really good. Toe stab strong. with Haymaker. It's very powerful, it does a lot of damage, but the only weakness is that no team fighting capabilities and not really that great of a anti-ganking either. Stalling is okay because you can dodge bash and dodge sucker punch, has really good iframes, and the animation can be hard to differentiate. You have to pay attention to punish his dodge attack or his dodge bash, and so you have to choose between the two, because if he just dodge light, he can do a chain form as light attack from the top, and that'll mess you up and mess up your inputs and everything. So Gladiator overall, let's just go over his tier 1. Bounty Hunter or Deadly. I tend to run Deadly because you can get a lot of damage, but Bounty Hunter is also very strong too. And then Haymaker is going to be your go-to. Always pick that. Run Neptune's Wrath because it's faster and it deals 40 damage. Boladorus also got nerfed, but nobody ever runs that unless you run it with Catapult, which is guaranteed, which is pretty sick. And then Run Fear itself because your toe stabs deal like freaking 30 damage. It's actually insane. It deals like 18 actually, but it's actually really, really strong. And so that's Gladiator. Good character, but has clear defining weaknesses. Really fun to use with your double deflex, because when you get a deflect or a skewer, you can dodge out of your move. And so if someone throws a light or a heavy attack, and you have enough time, you should have enough time for a lot of moves, but it depends on what move it is. If they do it very, very late, you're not going to have time to do anything, so you have to just dodge out of the way. But yeah, that's Gladiator for you. Really fun character, but has a lot of weaknesses. Moving on to the next one, it's going to be Gryphon. Now, Gryphon is absolutely one of the best characters in the game. Easy to play, great for team fighting with his finisher heavies having freaking ridiculous hitboxes and hyper armor. So you have to respect him in team fights. He has fun mix-ups with his kick, and his chain kick and his undodgeable finisher lights. Also, his double tap lights are really strong too because it messes up your timing, and it has a really good hitbox too, honestly. So if you do double lights and you don't do anything, and the player dodges or preemptively dodges, you can do double lights again. So it's really cool to do. 4 light is enhanced, so he's kind of in the Kensei situation, but his dodge attack is also amazing. But like I rate Gryphon a lot stronger because of his feats. Kensei's feats are good, but they don't really set him apart from, the rest of the S tiers. The reason why Gryphon is so busted and strong, in my opinion, he's a solo carry hero, is because he has a lot of healing feats. Tier 2 will heal, Tier 3 will shoot a bow, deal damage, and heal, and then of course his Tier 4 is going to heal as well. And that's why he's so freaking strong, in my opinion, because he can pretty much do everything. He can duel, he can team fight, he can also support his team by healing, and he has a good roll catcher. So in general, he's got pretty much the perfect kit to be a paladin. So tier 1, running fast recovery or speedy revive. Stern Stare is also really good too because it lowers their attack, which is insane. And then we have Dragonite Mist, Dragonite Bolt for healing, and then Dragonite Cleanser for either throwing a bomb and healing a little bit, or Champion's Aura, which I prefer running because this helps you stall for days. And then Rapid Refresh also allows you to get all of these feats back incredibly fast. And so not much to say about Gryphon. He's a fairly popular character, especially with the skin, and you can definitely struggle against him if you're not playing a good character. The next hero is going to be Conq. So Conquer, he also got buffed too. His forward dodge heavy, which is roll catcher, it has better momentum now, and it does a lot of damage too, mind you. It's a 24 damage heavy that is feintable. And with Conquer, like I would say for most of the player base, he's gonna be powerful. Now, the reason I say that is because, are you reacting to his unblockable heavies? No, you are not. If you are reacting to it, then he is gonna be probably like a very weak character. But I rate him very high because his dodge bash is incredibly good. His follow-up light is a 360-degree move, so he becomes very strong in stalling situations unless there's a BP there to flip his ass. And then, of course, he does have infinite chain lights, infinite chain heavies, and his heavies become unblockable. He has a chain bash that's also feintable. And then forward dodge heavy to mix you up and deal a shit ton of damage. You can't run away from him now. So he has pretty much all bases covered. The only weakness he has is that his finisher heavies don't deal that much damage, but they're unblockable. So you're still gonna have to make a read on it. And then of course, every single move he does, he can cancel his recoveries with the full block. So he's safe, he's strong, he's not a weak character. Since they made it so that you can you can catch people who are away from you. And so Conquer, absolute monster now. Like, absolute monster. If they buffed his damage on his finisher heavies, he would be so freaking goated, honestly. So freaking goated. And let's go over his feats here. There's not much to say about him. Like I said, he's just an orange hero, and you spin to win with him. You spin to win. So body count, great for mid lane. I would run Shield Basher over Juggernaut, but you can run that if you want to be more tankier. Punch Through is absolutely worthless. Do not use this. Heal on block is okay. Pugno Mortis is also good, I suppose, but not that great of a selection in my opinion. So moving on to tier 4, you either run Interruptible or Catapult or Regenerate. All these are all mid in my opinion, but I think Regenerate is a little bit better, but Interruptible is also really fun to use because you have Hyper Armor. It's actually really hilarious. But not much to say about Conquer, man. He's fairly straightforward, and what he does to and he's a very good defensive powerhouse, a decent duelist. He does have a really he's pretty popular, but if you're not reacting to his unblockable heavies, like I said, you can have a tough time with him. Very tough time with him. Now we are almost done with the knights here. We are moving on to our girl Peacekeeper. So Peacekeeper, it's a pretty simple placement. I'm not gonna lie to you. This character, she does require a little bit of effort and knowledge to use her correctly. You can't just go in there and start pressing lights and throwing out heavies and stuff. There's like, I would say majority of the Peacekeepers I see are absolutely terrible. Like absolutely terrible, and they're just getting destroyed. If you are using her, she has a very high skill curve. If you're using her to the highest extent of her her moveset, she's actually really goated. I would honestly put her up in like the A+ tier category. Like that's how strong she would be if you play her perfectly. If you don't play her perfectly, she's horrible. If your reactions aren't on point that day, you're doing like if you're a good fundamentalist and you're okay overall, I would put her in like the A tier. She has clear defining weaknesses. She's a great duelist, but she overall needs to work pretty hard for her damage, in my opinion. Block top and you'll be fine for most of the part. And like the only way she can get her mix up is going to heavy into soft feint bleed for the top. Overall, I think her kit needs to be reworked, and I'm hoping they rework her kit soon. But right now, she has no external pressure. What you have to do with the character is that you have to play her really methodically and safe. So you have to play her as like someone who peels and someone who doesn't initiate like the bleed constantly, because she has really good recoveries. She actually has one of the best recoveries when it comes to her moveset. So after a finishing move, she has really good recovery. She can block, she can parry afterwards. And her chain pressure is not too bad in duels, to be honest with you. Once she gets that bleed going, she actually is quite strong. But the problem with her is that she is hard to use against a lot of the cast. Gryphon exists, Lubu exists, Hyper Armor exists, so she has to play very defensively and methodically against pretty much everyone. So if your reactions and parries are not on point, she's not going to be that strong and not get that much value. Even Nuxia is stronger than her because she has a huge hitbox, she has undodgeables now, she has better feats than Peacekeeper, and Peacekeeper is just kind of suffering, she's kind of suffering. But I'm not going to say Peacekeeper is a bad character. Like I said before, her dueling capabilities are insane. Her team fights can be very good, but you have to use her at the highest level and know all your matchups. So for tier 1, even though she has chain form as light attacks, that's not gonna make the character. You need more than that, than just form as light attacks. Otherwise, you're cooked. Shaowin has chain form as light attacks, but he also has literally a god tier kit, like god tier kit. Feats though, let's go with a bounty hunter, absolutely god tier. You can also run stealth as well, hide in the bushes, and then go ahead and snipe someone with a card break and grab their freaking kidneys. So that's always fun. Fiat Lux is, don't run this, it's horrible. Run Thick Skin if I were you. Saves you a lot of health in my opinion. And then run crossbow or sharpened blade. Personally, I really like running crossbow, deals damage, it's a projectile, it's very helpful. Sharpened blade will absolutely delete people, but if you're fighting characters like Shaolin or Gryphon or anybody with second wind, sharpened blade becomes useless. Then of course Fear Itself is your best bet, but then Last Laugh is also really insane too. So that's what I would use personally. And she's going in the mid tier. She's going in the mid tier in my opinion. And lastly, for our knight, we have Lawbringer. Lawbringer is going straight up in the solo carry tier. I mean, not much to say about Lawbringer, man. Just be target swapping those unblockable heavies. He's got Hyper on his chain heavy attacks. He's got a pretty solid roll catcher with his forward dodge heavy. He has enhanced lights on his side ones. His chain light is 4MS. His top chain light is 4MS lights. Can catch you when you're trying to dodge his chain bash. His chain bash is 5MS. He has just, he has a kit that works, honestly, a kit that works. After, when you parry someone, you can get unblockable zone attack that hits 360 degrees. Great for anti-ganking and incredible for dueling. Also really strong for ganking too. Triple heavies, man, it's a scary character, honestly. He's fairly straightforward too, mind you. Like a fairly straightforward character, but he gets a lot of damage. And he can absolutely melt your health bar if you're not gonna try to make a good read against his unblockable heavies, because I'm not reacting to that. I think it's freaking fast as hell. And so with Lawbringer, you're gonna have to respect him a lot from neutral and in team fights. You have to respect a lot. And yeah, I really don't have much to say about Lawbringer. We see him all the time. Even though he's played a lot, he still is incredibly powerful just by having that chain form as light attack. He has high parry punishes for his light parry, and he can also ledge people with his impale just by running around. Fast character, hyper armor, all that good stuff. So tier 1, we're going to use... you can use body count. I think body count's a little bit better being in the mid lane because you're going to be there a lot. Harsh Judgment's pretty good too. Righteous Deflection or Juggernaut is really good. Second Wind, and then of course either run Second Wind or Pugna Mortis and Ignis Ember, which is just gonna bomb people for days. You're gonna act like our boy Trump, just bomb everything. And that's pretty much it for the 9th faction. I'm pretty happy with this result so far, if I say so myself. You guys let me know if you guys have any different opinions on my tier list so far. Alright, hopefully you guys are still with me here. We are on to our last faction, and it is a Hawktoon, or the Outlanders, that is. Now, Hawktoon, so she is also a tricky character to place, and that's mainly because, one, a lot of people don't play her, but the Hawktoons that I have fought, and since I do know her entire kit, she is very hard to hit, and she's also a hard hitter too. And that's why I want to place her right here in the A+ category. Now, she is insanely good for stalling, in my opinion, and dueling. If you know how to use her soft feints, and her full block, her Rage and Fury, this character cannot be trifled with. Like, you can't just be interrupting her willy-nilly. You have to actually respect her moveset. This character is so good if you know how to play her well, because she hits good. She hits different. She can break through hyper armor now, because when she does get a full block, you can just use a kick. She has chain 4MS. She doesn't have chain 4MS. She has soft feint light attacks that are 4MS, unreactable. And then, of course, she also has soft feint into a chain heavy attack. So if you dodge and you dodge bash, you're going to get smacked by your chain heavy attack. So she's quite formidable. She has a lot of tools in her kit. Now, granted, she's not like on the solo carry tiers compared to the rest of the cast. I think she can definitely carry her games with her feats and her strong mixes. But the thing about this character is that she does require you to actually kind of understand the fundamentals of her honor. Understand frame advantage and know other characters' movesets. And what that means for her basically is that you can't just pick her up and win your games. Like, she's kind of tricky to use when you first start her. But when you do get to know her moveset and what you can do when you're in Rage and Fury, when someone tries to guard break you and things like that, you can light, you can do heavy, you can do a zone with like no guard break startup. She is quite formidable, and I am not going to downplay her at all. I think she's a strong character. A lot of people don't use her, but that's because there's so many other strong characters that don't require that much effort. We have Kyoshin, we have Orochi, we have Tiandi, we have Lubu. Why would you use Hawktoon? And she's still a really strong character. So let's just go over her feats. I would say Relentless is great because your soft feints has no stamina. It's perfect. You can also run Bounty Hunter too, which is great. But then I would also be running a Brutal, Intimidating, and Ultimate Punishment. Her tier 4 is so busted in my opinion. This is a 45-second cooldown, a 4MS move that deals 20 damage and leads up to your finisher heavy pin move. This is just a disgusting tier 4. You get this on every freaking fight. So if a Hawktoon is getting like a decent renown, she's gonna get this every single fight, and she's gonna get in between. She might use it in the beginning and then get it again if the fight lasts a little bit longer than 40 seconds. Like, this is an insanely strong tier 4. Most people are not going to be reacting to this. This is something that you get hit by out of the freaking moon. It's gonna free backshots for you, basically. And so Hawktoon, I'm rating her A+ tier. She's a powerful character once you get to know her, and she's definitely not a weak hero. You know, she was weaker when she first released, but now she has definitely found her place within this meta, and that's just a fact. Now, moving on here to Virtuosa. Virtuosa has also gotten some pretty significant nerfs, where her heavy attacks, basically her chain ones, within her posture stance, they're pretty hard to guard break. Now, the thing about this character is that she's still, in my opinion, a solo carry hero. If you have free iframes for days just by sitting there, especially in team fights and whatnot, I think you're going to be a solid character no matter what. She still has a forward dodge bash. She has a zone that is a bash that is feightable. She has chain form MS light attacks from the top. She has hyper armor as well within her posture stance. So when she throws a heavy from the right side, it is going to be hyper armor, and you can definitely trade with people. So having the ability to have free iframes to dodge anything, even a bash, except for undodgeables, is gonna net you so much value. She does have a crushing counter stance as well, but it's kind of hard to use, in my opinion, and it's fairly limited to someone who's just pressing buttons to you, so it's not that viable of a stance, in my opinion. And so your best stance is going to be your top stance and your right stance, hyper armor, and then you have fast form MS lights, and you also have a chain fire MS kick. So you know, even though she got nerfed in that regard, she's still freaking brain dead, in my opinion, and really busted, because you can just sit there and you get free value when someone hits you in team fights. You go for a free riposte. The bleed is also insanely good too, mind you, very good, because it'll bleed out opponents. And she has a pretty good roll catcher too, and a good dodge attack. So there's nothing bad I can say about the character, because she doesn't really have that much weaknesses, especially in solo queue lobbies and games where everyone is attacking constantly. You know, people are very aggressive in 4v4. The only time they're not aggressive is when you are fighting like stacks. Like when you're fighting stacks, then you're gonna have an issue. You're not gonna have that much fun, and you have to play her very, very well. But overall, she's still a really good character. Great openers, and her stance mix-up is honestly out of this world. It's honestly fun to use, but it's not that fun to fight against, especially if you're getting ganked by her. She's an excellent ganker, super scary, amazing forward momentum on our blockable heavies and her heavies in general. So let's go over her feats. Muscle memory, you wanna enter this without having to press the light or heavy attack, so it's very good. And then also, people have been running Thrilling Comeback instead of Artful Improvisation, because Thrilling Comeback just gives you more HP when you do go into a anti-gank situation, so that is probably better than her default one, which is still going to be good though. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then Second Wind is what I would be using afterwards. You can use Superior Retort, which deals more damage when you do land the move, but I prefer having healing, because there's a lot of bleed characters out there. If you do get into anti-gank situations, Thrilling Comeback is very helpful, because you get 40 HP and another 30 HP, so very solid. And then of course, Rejuvenating Spirit is an insane tier 4. Heals everyone and gives them a freaking defensive buff, like freaking god tier freaking tier 4. Okay, and we're gonna move on to our Arabian girl, or Persian girl, actually. I think Arabian is not the right one, but Afira. Afira is gonna be our solo carry. As you can see here, there's a lot of characters in For Honor. I'd say like half the cast that you can absolutely dominate with, and Ubisoft tends to make like all these characters very strong and viable at the highest level, and that's a good thing. And so half the cast is really powerful, and the other half is, you know, that you can do well with them. They're a little bit more of a, you know, they have skill that you can express, so skill expression. And you can do that with a lot of the solo characters too, but they're a lot more brain dead, in my opinion. And so with Afira, she basically has almost everything in her kit. She got crushing counters, she has crushing counters on lights and her finisher lights. She can dodge out of every single move with a backflip or a side somersault, things like that. And those have iframes too. Goes into a bash or a heavy attack that has very good tracking. She has a chain kick that goes into a unblockable side heavy or top undodgeable, and the left heavy is going to be a wall splat displacement heavy, and so that already nets her so much damage because she gets a heavy parry. She can just do a normal bash that is feintable from neutral, by the way, a normal neutral bash, and do a side heavy and get a wall splat, and then her top heavy is 25 damage, and so it's just so much freaking damage. It's I believe it's like 30 something, 39, 34 damage. Okay, it's 14 damage for the left side heavy, and then 25 damage, so it's like 40 damage punish, man. It's ridiculously good for just a heavy parry if there's a wall nearby on the right side. And so Afira is basically a Shinobi, but the Persian Shinobi, you know? So absolute god tier in that regard. Probably stronger than Shinobi, to be honest. But both those characters are absolutely ridiculous. And there's not much to say about Afira. I still see Afira plenty of times, and her feats are so freaking gravity's pull. These are free damage bash moves that are 5 MS, and they allow your teammates to get a free heavy on the enemy. Thrilling Comeback is going to be best tier 2. Speeding Comment is also just the full block version of your tier 1 for gravity's pull, so kind of freaking goated. You use it to option select, and then Orbiting Shield or Stalwart Banner is going to be your best friend. So I don't want to dive too deep in Afira. She's fairly straightforward. All you have to do is zone into undodgeable, zone into kick, or bash into heavy, flip into somersault, or left side heavy, because that one has the biggest hitbox, or you can use zone afterwards. So she's fairly straightforward, and you can do really well with her just by doing the basic fundamentals. And then once you start learning the character more, she has a lot of fun, you know, mix-ups and tech that you can do with the character, and it's honestly insane what she can do. She can also roll catch you too. Like forward dodge heavy is really good for roll catching, and then her bash also just speeding comets towards you, and there's no way you can escape from her. It's honestly hilarious to see. She's honestly a really unique character and also really fun to play. But granted, she is definitely busted. Okay, moving on to Pirate here. Pirate's pretty simple here. Solo carry list here, and I think she's probably she's top five characters in the For Honor roster. Same thing for like I would say Afira is also like top 5. You can make an argument for that, but Pirate forward dodge unblockable heavy, that's literally the best move in the game. It's fast, it has hyper armor, it's unblockable, it's unreactable. Her chain heavy finisher is also a skewer or a pin as well. And Pistol Blast I think Pistol Blast is the best move in the game because it breaks through hyper armor, and there's nothing you can really do about it when she does land it, because it gives the enemy free heavies to your face. She has great hitbox. She has dodge cancel recoveries on everything. So dodge cancel recovery this, dodge cancel recovery that. Big hitboxes on her dodge attack as well, and her chain bash is also really quick, deals direct damage. And she also has an undodgeable light attack. So she pretty much has everything she needs to be one of the best team fighters and one of the best duelists. And also, mind you, if she does get a pin on you and there's a wall nearby, she can just do the initial skewer and then kick you, and then she can land another freaking neutral heavy that goes into a pin again. So she got a lot going for her, and an incredibly strong character. And she's probably one of the most popular characters, especially since they added the pirate skin for her. You know, the pirate skin is awesome. I freaking love it. I do want to play more of her as well. But best feats to run: Armored Person Slug or Bounty Hunter. Personally, I like running Bounty Hunter instead. Tireless is also pretty decent. Thrilling Comeback is your go-to because you have an Aegis build you can use, and it's absolutely freaking busted. Trick Shot is insane, and then of course Gunpowder or Indomitable is gonna be probably the best feats to use for an Indomitable if you're running the Aegis build. Gunpowder Surprise for team freaking wipe. My gosh, it's disgusting. So this character pretty much has every single tool in the game, and you'll see her. Everyone hates her. Now, Ocelotl is going to be our next pick here, and he's pretty straightforward, honestly. Strong character. No clear defining weaknesses, maybe besides damage, but overall, I think he's in a really good spot right now. He's got Chain Form as light attacks are pretty much unreactable. I mean, I'm not pairing these at all. You're pairing them on a freaking big read, but if you miss your timings on it, he can just throw a Chain Heavy that's 700 MS, and he'll smack you in the face. Unblockable finisher heavies. Forward dodge light is really great for roll catching. He has Hunter Stance. Also got buff recently where he gets hyper on it, so it's kind of nice. It's nice quality of life change. Doesn't really do much to him. He's still fairly the same character. Trained Bash also does deal direct damage, and of course the finisher Bash also deals 22 damage. So, you know, overall the character is not bad. He's got a great kit. He can do well in pretty much every single situation. Dueling, anti-ganking, stalling. He has a really weird-looking dodge attack, too. And not much to say about him, you know. He's got a good kit. There's nothing bad about him, and there's no egregious things about his kit either, besides maybe some ganks. But I think the ganks got kind of nerfed to an extent. But Tier 1, Huntsman Spirit got nerfed recently, so you can't just be indefinitely going AFK and spawning back in with 5 HP. So that got nerfed. There's a cooldown on. It's a 60-second cooldown. And then Tier 2, I would be running Bear Trap and Quetzalcoatl's Blessing is pretty freaking decent, if I say so myself. So if you kill an opponent, you get more damage. But I tend to run Second Wind, and that is really nice with his Huntsman Spirit. And then Trapper Reach is going to be pretty much an insane freaking Tier 4. You're going to smack people from a mile away when you spawn back in with your Huntsman Spirit. And then you're going to get a free guard break that does crap ton of bleed and a free heavy attack or a free ledge, honestly. So that's why Ocelotl is definitely not to be trifled with. He's ridiculously strong. And pretty straightforward. Moving on to Magi. Now, Magi, I think he's honestly a bit tricky. Personally, I think he can fall into this A+ tier category, but the thing is, I feel that he has somewhat defining weaknesses. He certainly isn't the strongest character. His stat form is mainly just used for team fights, which isn't terrible. You can get some nice trades in. His axe form has no hitboxes, but it does have chain form as light attacks, which can be very strong, and of course an undodgeable finisher and a chain form as bash with decent recoveries. Better than most characters, at least. And then his zone attack it's pretty cool. I feel like it's hard to parry from time to time. He also has forward dodge bash as well, but his damage is low without his tier 1. And so what his tier 1 does, and this is pretty important for Magi, this is the only time he's actually really good, is that if he's just getting a bash without his tier 1, it's just 9 damage. It's actually very pathetic. You want to be taking as much as you can, instead of, you know, him going for a heavy feint into guard break to catch your dodges. But essentially, you get 10% more damage if you execute someone in your axe mode. So this is very helpful. And then if you execute someone in staff form, you get 10% defense buff, which means you have Bastion everywhere you go. So this does help him, and it makes his damage a lot higher. So he does have higher damage, but I think his kit is a little bit hard to use, in my opinion. A lot of people don't run him because his damage is not good without his tier 1. So if you die, you're going to lose that buff again. His hitboxes are ass in axe form. I think he's just overall a very mid character. He's kind of mid-gay, as other people would call it. Granted, he has a kit. The problem is that he has a kit, but it just cannot be utilized to the fullest extent because of the damage values and his weak hitboxes. You know, he has to rely strictly on defensive plays, and you can no-brain with him, to be honest, and you can make an argument for his A+ tier category, but I'm just gonna put him in A tier because he does have clear weaknesses, in my opinion. And so Sunshine Strength, you want to be running Thrilling Comeback, and you want to be running Second Wind. Don't run Scare Belief. You can't counter your teammates in solo queue. And then Astral Manifestation, which did get nerfed recently. It deals 55 now. Used to deal 70 damage. So big nerf for him, and that's a good thing because this tier 4 is pretty busted, because it did so much damage and hit so far away. So that is pretty much it for the Outlanders. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy the tier list here. Let's go ahead and I think I'm gonna start ordering it from the end here. Let's order it from strongest to weakest. I'm gonna try doing that. All right, so I changed the tier, and honestly, so I moved Virginosa down to the A plus tier. I think she's, you know, she definitely feels weaker, that's for sure. So I'm moving her down to the A plus. She's not a solo carry character anymore, but best characters is gonna be Lubu, Pirate, Jangjun, Shaolin, Tiandi. Pretty freaking strong top 5 in my opinion. We can argue semantics, putting Nobushi up here. Honestly, Nobushi might be better, to be honest with you. And then Zhanhu, these guys can kind of like be around this area. But like Aramusha, freaking goated. I think I'll just put him right there. He might be like top freaking 10 at least. But yeah, I think this is my finished. This is my finished tier list. You got Shugoki up here. You got Fira, Shinobi, Sohei, all these characters right here. And then we have Orochi, very close to being highest level of highest tier for carrying. Pretty much these characters can carry too, but I think you just need to put a little bit more effort compared to these guys up here. They have a lot more value and they're a little bit harder to fight, whereas Oroshi's pretty straightforward. It's bash or undodgeable, and that's very simple to deal with. And of course, Warmonger with their corruption, VGuard, Kensei with his new buffs, pretty insane. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Then we have the last characters down here. Zerker, very close to A plus in my opinion, but I'm just gonna put him in A because there's clear weaknesses, and Warden as well. They all have like strong traits about them where they can be very good duelists and good gankers, but team fighting is just kind of ass, and opening people up is also bad too. So Shaman, Magi is there, and then we have the mech category. These are okay characters, but I just think they're fairly meh, you know, in general. So that's gonna be my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed me yapping for freaking 2 hours here. I tried to make the video shorter, but there's just so much to cover here, and there's a lot of new players that come in to watch these videos, and I think it's important to flesh out any tier list whatsoever. I think if you skip and gloss over things, it just ruins the tier list itself. Like I could make a 20-minute tier list and go by it really quickly, but then you miss on very important nuance, my opinions, my biases as well. And at the end of the day, this is going to be my opinion, but you know, I play this game so much, and I feel like I have a decent grasp about this, the meta, and what works and what doesn't work at the highest level. But I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your thoughts. What positions and characters would you change? Do you think I got most of it right? There's a lot of characters in S tiers. It's like half the roster, but the other half is still solid as well. And I think the main thing is that the solo carry heroes, these are characters I do very well in, and I don't have to think too much. And they're also characters that I can struggle against as well. When I see these characters, they're like, oh god, I have to fight these characters. But the other ones down there, I feel like they're a lot more balanced and a lot less threatening, where I can make some good reads, defensive reads, to you know, to beat them. And so that's going to be it for the video. I appreciate you all tuning in here, and hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys fallen asleep, that's also good too. By all my Japanese, you take care now. Be sure to like the video if you liked it. If you disliked it, go ahead and dislike it as well. Leave a comment what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye bye. See you later.